Hello, everybody, and welcome back to week 3 of Blue Skirmish's August series. My name is Ovi, and although I'm in a new space, I'm still the same old caster, host, and analyst from your past 2 weeks, here to bring you the action yet again, where once again we have some returning teams fighting for their spot on the leaderboards, considering they are definitely running out of time. So before we jump into the matchup, I did want to recognize who is returning today, which is we have Dancers, Habaxti, Black Air Force Energy, Uwu Kittens, Rotarian, and Esports Org. So if any of those names sound familiar, you can keep an eye out in the bracket to see if they make it in the following stages. However, for the matchup we have in store for you for our quarterfinals, we actually have two teams we have not gotten to see yet. We have for you today, the matchup is going to be Team EBS versus Five Tails Esports Black. And for this map, it's a best of one, obviously. They will be going to Haven, where Five Tails will be starting out on the attack, and Team EBS will be starting out on the defense. Now, as they get ready to jump into the game, I believe we have some players getting ready to jump in. We can talk a little bit about the results from the last week and where the current standings on the leaderboards are. For example, Dancers, like I said, are currently in first place. You know, they were able to get second place in week 1, and then they came back in week 2 with that same energy, that same firepower, and they were able to get enough points to maintain their lead, even though another team was able to take home the dub. And that team, I can pull that up as well, obviously, was none other than, I believe it was, names are difficult, guys. There's so much to keep track of. All right, let's pull it up. It was none other than Habaxti, who also are back, and they got a bye during the first round, but they will be obviously taking on their own quarterfinals matches, and you'll be able to, wait around and see if they stick around for the later bracket so they can show up back on stream for all of you Habaxti fans. For now, though, like I said, we had somebody crash, so they will be logging back into the game. Otherwise, though, I do want to point out that even though we have those teams returning from week 1 and week 2, there are only 4 teams. Let me double check that. Number 1, 2. Yes, 4 teams that have been here for all weeks. So week 1, week 2, and week 3. And that is Black Air Force Energy, Habaxti, Uwu Kittens, and Dancers. So with that, we have our top 4 teams on the current leaderboards returning. And we also have those top 2 teams that are, in like first and second in the running here as well to kind of contest that first place spot. They have the biggest chunk of the prize pool. Otherwise, though, we have Black Air Force Energy and Uwu Kittens that have been having strong showings, have been showing up each week, so they definitely are building up those points to try and pave their way. And if they can definitely get a first or second place next week or continue fighting, I think Uwu Kittens is still in this week, then they definitely have a chance of getting enough points on the leaderboard to shake things up. Otherwise, though, we are getting into our agent select here, and I'm interested to see this, because usually you see those mirror comps, the composition kind of here that the attackers that Five Tails is locking in, but on the other side, we have a Yaru coming out from Dylan, and even a hover from True on that fade, which are both interesting picks and will definitely give some spice back to this game. I mean, the Yaru outplays, especially on C long, can be great. If they're trying to stick it, you can send your clone in and force them to get off in those 1v1 situations. Or even just, the information ability to guide any other utility usage from that dimensional drift. Both of them are pretty good uses. My only question is, currently they're hovering 3 initiators. Does that mean that True is actually going to lock in this fade, or are they going to be kind of playing with us and swapping over to a Sentinel last second? No, they are in fact going for this 3 initiator composition, so they are doubling down on that information. They are doubling down on that aggression, versus obviously on the opposing side, on the attackers, it is that more stable comp, that more standard composition you see of the double initiator, the single duelist, single controller, and obviously the single sentinel. And I mean, that cipher is great for your defensive half. So I think obviously this is the half where both teams are kind of, I don't want to say at their deficit, but their composition isn't catered for it. So if you can get a head start on this half, then you are pretty set for your following half, no matter if Haven is attack or defense sided. Either way, though, now loading into the game, and let's see what these teams have in store for us for the first few rounds. Once again, like I said, Five Tails Esports Black is going to be starting out on the attackers. Team EBS starting out on that defense. All right. And it does look like they're going to be going for a 3-person stack towards the C site. Obviously, having that breach play more towards garage, but they can still provide that kind of cross map or that C entry utility, you know, with the fault line, with the flashpoint. And they also are correct in this week pretty much. I mean, you can see the attackers there. You can see Five Tails more grouping up outside of C long right now. And Yoru, with that aggressive utility, might have an early confrontation as well. We'll wait to find out here as the jump peaks trying to go through. The question will become, do they check this corner where the Yoru is playing with a shorty? Doesn't matter, the tailwind's a bait, and they will in fact be awarded one and are able to teleport out of that situation. Not without blood being drawn though, as their omen will fall, so no more smokes for that retake attempt. And now, all eyes are going to be on Batum with this late lurk through garage as the retake comes through, but they somehow don't clear the corner, and Safra is there for not 1, not 2, but 3. I mean, that round was essentially both teams not checking a pivotal corner and it being absolutely catastrophic. Number 1, the entry, losing your breach. Number 2, Safer, who I would say was the worst corner not to check on the re-entry. And I'm wondering if they kind of had a false sense of security from the clone not getting destroyed out of CT. But either way, it gives them the picks. It gives them enough money to force not a Bulldog or a Spectre, but a Vandal here. While the rest of the team is going to be going for, like I said, those Bulldogs, for those Spectres, where they're hopefully going to be winning against this classic crew. But Dylan as well, reprising the role on the shorty. So let's see if they can get cheeky here for now. And they in fact do. Able to collect the weapon off free, but it's quickly traded back and followed through. Suddenly, though, now it's a 3v2. Can they get the weapons? Can they convert? Not quite. It's going to be a 1v3. I think they know where Marv is at this point, and they are quite literally boxing them in a corner, and there it is. I mean, not terrible finding 2 individuals on your bonus round, but they definitely, if they were able to collect those weapons and be able to get another 1 or 2, it would have been perfect for them. Either way, like I said, although it's 2-0, don't count anybody out just yet, because now on the side of Team BBS, they do have, obviously, their own buy coming through here. And this is where you're going to start to see that aggression. We're going to see this aggressive defense shine, is when you have better weapons to try and counteract the kind of the attackers, counteract this force coming into your site. And it looks like they're taking this aggression once again early out the gate, and it's going to be a main this time. They did hear probably that Shrouded step across towards short, but no other players are biting, and the real presence is more towards mid, more towards C, and they're really just defaulting, trying to bait out this early aggression, like I said, that they expect from a team comp that has no Sentinel, that has 3 initiators, that has a Yoru. And in fact, Marv is going to be the one to punish this defaulting, is going to find the first, but it's quickly traded back for by Safra's own lurk as well. And that does open up the A side a little bit. You can see now the Jet with the spike rotating over here, along with, as well, EBS, realizing this is where it might be headed. On the way as well, True's going to pick up another one, so even with spike getting planted, it's going to be a numbers advantage for the retakers. And that ping out of heaven is not going to help. Safra is pinned and shooting the clone in hell, so Dylan will pick up 1 more, and it's suddenly a 4v1. Not checking their corner, and Knock of the God will fall to True. And just like that, like I said, better weapons, you finally get your first round on the board, and you only lose 1 in the process, so that'll be great for the economy. We love the ticking away music from the finisher as well. Just gonna admire it, you know? Look at that.
The nightmare turns.
They definitely have been using the gun well so far. I mean, you can already see some standout players, I would say. Obviously, Safer with that 6-3K on the pistol. I mean, True and Dylan have both been consistent, being 3 and 2, kind of in those retakes and those early picks, even on their bonus round. And I mean, if they can keep it up and keep this, I guess I don't want to say momentum, but this selective aggression apparent, I think they can definitely prove themselves on their defense, where this composition should not be picking up a surplus of rounds. Either way, though, it's going to be a pivot once again out of 5 Tails. They're going to be headed towards this C site, where seconds into the round, Marv will fall. And as a response, you can already see those rotations starting to come over, and it will be correct once again. You can see the site has already been occupied, but there's a gap in the Omen smoke, which will cost Barnito their life. Dylan will be awarded that and fall back to the regrowth for their team before re-entry. And even the ultimate will now come out to get that information, get where these players are coming from. It'll guide the fault line and the entry in, but do they know the Shrouded step is there? Yes, it's a 1-for-1 trade. Numbers now evened out by bottom. 2v2. Trying to get on the spike, not halved. Dishy forced to now take the fight. Do they know where the Sova is? The answer is no, and they might get pinned as a result. They were the 1v1, but they don't check behind them. And that is a third from our rifle on rifle round for the side of EBS. Or sorry, for FT, for Five Tails. You know, too many players on both sides. And I mean, it was a great attempt of a retake. Like I said, they are punishing the mistakes coming out from Five Tails, and they're able to get onto the site, but then it's just kind of dwindling there in terms of the coordination of utility. I mean, even the breach utility was on point, but then there was no real information. When you have like these initiators, you have a Fade, you have a Sky, you should be using that utility to get your way into site, or sorry, get information before you get into site. Either way though, once again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They are headed back towards this C site pretty aggressively, while the stack was more towards A. And you can see though, this time, it might not be a follow through, it might be a fake. And because of that, you see the Sky rotate back on to site, you see this breach as well. You see Dishy anchoring short. And so far, they were expecting some kind of rebuttal. They were expecting some kind of aggression, it looks like, out of EBS. You can see they're wary of grass, they're wary of the space that might have been taken. But finally, reservation is being shown by EBS. You can see them holding their angles on the site, waiting for first contact. And that contact will come in the form of a guiding light A. Come with the form of these players dashing in to sight off of the double flashpoint. Yes, the Trailblazer will confirm, but they're blind. There's nothing they can do. And as well as the paranoia coming out, will leave Dishy high and dry and short. Although they get... No. It's Dylan, actually, to try and stop the bleeding. Good for 2, but ultimately falls, leaving Marv with 41 HP and a tall task to fill. The wallbangs are too strong from Naki the God, and it is a team ace. Everybody doing their job to get this 4th round on the board. I mean, I'm curious what they have cooking, obviously, with this 3 initiator comp, and I'm excited to see them get onto the attack where they are, in fact, more favored. But I want to know if they're more like apting to play agents people are comfortable with here, and that's why they still went kind of off meta here. But regardless, so far, it does look like the standard comp is winning out. 4-1, they have 4 ultimates on the board, and it looks like they're going to take these aggressive ultimates on to this B site pretty fast. You can already see Recon Bolt to clear out grass to make sure there's no initial aggression, paired with that flashpoint as well. And in the meantime though, look, Cypher's doing their own work, eliminating that ego push, that economy push coming out. And Dishy's now there trying to collect those weapon upgrades. Dylan though, blindly going for the weapon upgrade, doesn't realize there might be a player waiting in the dark cover for the trade, which does leave Dishy, who was the only one to get a weapon upgrade, does get granted a 1v1 from Safra, but they will lose that fight out. And it is a 5th now on the board. No fear though, like I said, this is obviously, that was obviously an econ round, so that's why you had that gamble push down C-Long, and ultimately the Cypher was prepared. I think they were really hoping for more of an all-out brawl because they've hit C early on twice in a row before that round, but then ultimately it was flipped. The Cypher wasn't watching A main, they were watching that C-Long positioning, and they have a better gun and are just cracked in their own right, and that's what gets them the 2 early opening kills. And Dishy, although they stopped the bleeding, it's not enough on the board to get the job done. Now, coming back to Rifles v Rifles, Dishy now repositioning from A over to the C site to try and reinforce this hold, but it's going to be the fault line ultimate combo that's going to shred these players. Both Dishy and Hazard now completely out of the picture, so C site will be taken scot-free for Five Tails here. And even more coming out as they don't shoot the clone, they shoot the rail one. And finally, the last player to arrive to site knows there's an alert coming through B main, but it's all a distraction as they get pinched, and it's a flawless round off of that Hunter's Fury. Insane combination of utility coming out there, from the information to the stun to stop the dodging mobility to then the follow-up and securing of the site. Now it's 6-1, so obviously they've confirmed at least a tied half, but they obviously want that numbers advantage. On the other side, 1-6. If you are EBS, you want to start getting rounds on the board. And when you have 5 ultimates, this econ buy doesn't look too shabby. You can already see Dylan here with the Bucky. Might be able to use that visual rift to get up close and personal to try and get one of these picks. Instead, it's going to be a teleportation out. And they'll even get pinged by the camera. And instead, it might have to be insurance policy to get them out of a dangerous situation. No, it's the spray that's too strong. once again flooding into these spaces where they finally get a pick, but once again prepared and ready to jump and run and beat hop all over the place, but Dishy will still find the shot. And amidst the chaos, silence rings out, the rotations come through. I'm not even gonna ask how the Omen got there, but they are there nonetheless, and the map suddenly is flipped. The Seekers will spot out where these players are, though, to give the information that it is, in fact, a split decision here. Marv, in fact, are gonna smoke it out. You can see, not sure where the Omen might have lurked up into, though, so they do have to use that paranoia. It's planted for heaven, though, and suddenly this 4v2 is looking possible. If Ansar doesn't have anything to say about it, they do force the Jet to jump out backside. Dishy sticking it once again, but this Cloudburst is gonna work in the 1v1, and they line up, and it's a 4K clutch for Five Tails Barnito. And I feel like we haven't seen too much out of them yet, but that is the round that will let them shine through when they're left to their own devices, they're left to their frag power. And I mean, I did like, obviously, the plan going into the econ round, right, was to take that mid control, was to follow up on it in order to get some of these weapon upgrades, which is what they were able to do, but then ultimately they didn't have enough utility for the retake. On the other hand, though, if you were, like, Barnito, if you were safer, you had a lot of utility because you were just more taking those gunfights and then pivoting intelligently. All right. And now, once again, going into the next round. Trying to figure out this slow start.
Off your feet!
And that slow start, that silence will be shattered by a rolling thunder into the A site. And the counter will come through as a nightfall, though, trying to not give any time to set up for this post-plant situation, and it's working so far. Dylan with the crunch, but at least get a player on to the spike, but it is going to be this 2v5, and from the shadows is spotted out and taken out of the picture to get a flawless second round on the board. And I mean, that's the kind of rounds we need to see from them. Leveraging these ultimates that they have on the board in order to convert rounds if there are other things that are making them fall short. Either way, though, 7-2, they obviously, if you are Five Tails, you secured your lead in this half. Now you're just trying to extend it, and their success has been on the C site, which might be why Spike is now leaning towards that direction more intensely here. This time, though, instead of leaving one person to lurk through garage, they're going for a more, you know, aggressive push out of grass, leaving one person to instead watch the push out, watch the response from C long. And they've had the breach, they've had Dishy there playing recently. This time, though, they have Unzar, and it's actually the more undefended position is this garage entry. The question is, do they know that there's 3 players on the C site itself, including an operator Omen? So far, it doesn't matter. Unzar is enough. Is able to get one, continue holding this window down temporarily, but ultimately on a lifeline, forced to fall back to the safety of CT. As, like I said, that operator lying in wait will find one, and they still are able to use that utility to help their teammate in garage, help them hold down the space. The question is, do they know the Jet's lurking in through B? So far, no, and it's cost them 2, and cost them the numbers advantage now, back on 3-3. And it's silent once again, no information gained, and you have to be wary if you are exactly EBS. I mean, that's not gonna help now. You don't know where they are, but they know where you are, and this will guide the decision to go, in fact, and plant on this B site. They know 2 response, so A or C are not options because they can easily rotate through, but I love this. Once again, amazing positioning coming out from the Jet. Look at this flank around to try and pinch through the contact coming in through C-Link. And it should go unnoticed unless Pado can do all the job in their own right. And I'm hoping for a knife, but no, as they turn around, they will get a Vandal to the face. That operator now falling and not even collected. Like, we don't need an attack off. Our Vandals are working. It's 8-2. We are in a great position. Either way, though, once again, I'm surprised I haven't seen a timeout coming out from EBS, but they do have obviously the Rolling Thunder online, which is another powerful retake ultimate. We did see that flawless coming out of another one that's very similar in terms of the Nightfall, so hopefully they take that in stride and learn and be like, okay, let's play more in safe positionings, let's play off site and retake together. But then again, it looks like once again Dylan's gonna be leading some aggression potentially here. See Long already, the teleport's out, already the fault line, and the flash land beautifully. Clone follow-up as well, but it doesn't catch Padu, it costs their teammate. So they will be able to escape with their life and one more to fight back. Numbers advantage though, still 4v3 in favor of EBS. And they have not conceded this space. While on the other side, Unzar, who's tried to kind of outplay them. Oh, the Omen! Good for one, tries to target swap, but will lose their life as a result. And Dishy not even needing the reload. Good for another. So it will be a 2v1. Padu not rotating. Instead, trying to follow up on this side hold. True, trying to use utility to delay, wait for the rotation from their teammate to get this pinch flank coming through. The thing is, though, they aren't going on to C. They have 45 seconds. They have plenty of time to play mind games, to isolate, to find these 1v1s. And it's exactly what they're doing here so far. Going into window, the last spot they're expected, which will award them a third, award them some sort of security here, and even award them the avoidance of this trap play that they were trying to set up with the sky flank from Unzar. Now the question is, can they win another fight? Can they get another timing masterpiece? So far the answer is yes, they've evaded the CT rotation. The question is, are they going to expect them to be Graph? That's a common place to go. If they had stayed window and reflanked, they probably wouldn't have expected them behind. So Unzar has full utility here. It's going to tap, but they know that they're not on. It's not really planning for this position, though, except for the wide peak. They're sticking it all the way. They're off, but it won't matter. It's the 4K clutch for Padu. And, I mean, what more could you ask for from this team? I mean, the bottom front gets a 4K clutch. I mean, Bonanito, who was lower on the scoreboard, now 13-6 after their own 3K clutch. And, I mean, Zephr's been there the entire time. And, I mean, obviously map-based structure might not work out in your best map, but it's showing why this composition is not to be trifled with. I mean, you have information, you have flashes, you have stuns, you have paranoias. I mean, you even have the flank hold from that Cypher, and it's something not to be messed with here, especially when now you have your Rolling Thunder back online and that Blaze Storm, so you are going to aggressively dash in and take this B site and force a retake out of ABS. I do wonder why they chose B, though. This is a great site for the Rolling Thunder to come in, to take its effect on such a confined space. I mean, it's even the closest range in terms of the weapons that are online. And you can see here, like I said, the trade of Rolling Thunders. Pod is trapped in the corner with the pulse, and so far, it's working out. I mean, Dark cover's out. Nobody's on the spike just yet as they wait for the Owl drone to fade. Judge, though, into grass. They know where the last person is, and they will find it. So this fragmented buy comes up with a third for the 9-3 potential curse. And if there's any composition to make it happen where you could win this many rounds, it would definitely work out for them here on Haven with 3 initiators. And my only thing is, if you are 5 tails, I think you definitely are going to be looking for this flank opening, considering they don't have a sentinel. You are going to be looking for any space unchecked and held by these players, and that is what concerns me so far. I mean, we've seen it a few times from Bonanito, we've seen it from Zephyr as well when they were on their attack, being able to get into the into the defender spawn, being able to get around, get into these flank positions, and they might take advantage of that even more here on the defense. Only time will tell, though, as we jump into this round. Obviously, Pistol, new half, new energy, new momentum, and this momentum on the side of EBS looks like it's going to be taken towards A-Main, as well as somehow the Recon Bolt pinging out 1 should keep their presence here for now. The question is, how is this double duo swing going to come out? It will start in their favor, good for 1, but they're at 14 HP, trying to run for their life, they will lose it. And the trade does not come through as well from Naku the God. True, hitting their shots beautifully. So with the plant coming through, it will be a 4v2, but not impossible considering True is on a lifeline and that regrowth is out of the picture. Sky being the only one to fall on the retake. I do think this 3-person in hell is interesting, especially since True, their insurance policy on short has now fallen. Could be AIM Labs or a firing squad here, depending on how Bottom swings this out of the dark cover. The question is, do they wait for Zephyr? They don't have any really utility left for this take. The double swing, and each player finds their own. Dishy and Dylan to start closing that gap, to bring things to 4-9 and set their economy up to start going on a run as they start their attack. The question is, can this deagle from Padu, can this shorty from Seifra put any stop to this momentum that they want to build? And so far, not quite. But we'll see. I mean, if you are 5 kills, I think this is a smart decision to stack towards the C site, to leave A undefended, to play a retake. But for now, it does look like the incorrect read. 5 players once again going towards Garden, not wanting to deepen their playbook or test other plans if their first initial one is working. And so far, A worked pretty well last round, so they are going to fake out some presence B. But like I said, Spike's headed towards the A site, and it looks like Batum might have had a read on this situation. Can probably further hear the initiator utility as well as the players running down long, and as the dark covers come out, you can see the rotation start to come through. They are taking a fight though, solo hell, and although they will get Dylan down to low HP, it's no pick. And look at this already now, flank coming through immediately as the rest of the rotates will come in through CT. The question is, are they prepared for it? So far the answer is no, but True still somehow will find it while retreating. Although Baranito forced a Marshall here, it's gonna be hard to find a shot, especially when you have that breach utility in your face. And I mean, this is one of the hardest sites to retake. So when you have these close range and long range weapons in juxtaposition and these crossfires that EBS has set up beautifully on the CT hold, it does become a tall chore. And I mean, so far even these players that have an pin, and you can see they're just going in for it. They know they don't need these weapons. And one has a shorty, but the pings are too good. Marv gets the kill and Knock is a god, but it's actually the fall damage that takes them out. So that's a flawless 5th round here for now the attackers for EBS. And I mean, I did say that the last half was going to be more picking up rounds on your weaker half, but I mean, so far it does seem like this is the time for this 3 initiator composition to shine. I mean, just even the outplay potential from the teleports, from the clone, to make it seem like another site is being hit. And I mean, even if you are 5 tails, it seems like this is your first round where you are in fact not cooking up a counter strat. You aren't cooking up something wild. You are more defaulting here. I mean, you have this jet breach ready to hold down short yet again, but it's really just initiator utility being used to clear it, as this TP play once again for the 2nd time goes into backside and finds not 1 but 2. Finally though, some retaliation. Naku the God being there since short the entire round gets the support from their Omen from Seifra, and it'll award them 3 for Dylan is finally able to shut down that carnage. Now though, trapped after the gun upgrade and graffiti, it's Marv falling, and Dylan, who was able to get the plant down, won't be able to convert much more after getting to such low HP on those entry frags. And, whew, I mean, beautiful round from both teams in that regard. I mean, it's a bonus, obviously, for EBS. So the fact that they are able to have Dylan be such an effective entry with only that Spectre, find the Jet in the off angle, find that breach back sight, they were beautiful plays, but ultimately they weren't able to have that pressure coming in through short fast enough. Yes, they have the Trailblazer. Yes, they have the Proudly clearing it out, but that fault line from the breach link meant that they couldn't follow it up with people. They couldn't put a person there. They couldn't put eyes or pressure onto the Sova, and ultimately that's what awarded them the 3K, awarded them, I would say, the numbers on the retake. Either way, now that A site execute has failed them, they realize this kind of triangle of death that they have pivoted on that site. They are instead going to explore elsewhere. That exploration is going to bring them into C, quite potentially Cypher's den here. And because of that, they are going to use that Yoru ultimate, going to get them backside off of the fault line. Good for 1, still alive and fighting as well. As forced to Cypher offsite, so no capitalization potential coming out, but the counter is actually going to be this Hunter's Fury. We've seen it find 2 before. This time though, it won't find anything. So plant will come through and it will be an even 4-on-4 retake. The only difference maker being there's no smokes for the defenders here on this retake. Double shock darts will mince Dishy down to 40 HP, and now the wallbangs as well might come through now that they're 40 HP and pinged out by the Owl Drone. And suddenly that is a 4v2, and locking in this insurance policy is gonna be the Neuro Theft. Ultimately, it's only awarded 1, and there's the trades. The numbers advantage, like I said, paying out off those wall bangs on the entry. And I mean, even if you have 3 initiators, or in this case 2 info initiators, right, in terms of the fade in the sky, is that really better than one Sova who has all these lineups and is able to get just as much information as the 2 of them are? So far, the answer is no. This Sova, although not the flashiest, being one of the members lower on the scoreboard, they're still positive 12-11, but that information, enough of the god, and even their 3k in the previous round is what has made them stellar so far in this map. Either way, though, we do have to see some sort of reaction, some sort of kind of aha moment coming out from EBS here if they want to shut down this momentum. I mean, 11-5, you're about to be on match point, and you've just lost your lurk. You've lost your, you've lost your first blood here to Baranito. And that was without any utility. It was just a dry peek, and now 5v3 haven't even made it way onto his site. And rotations have come through. They're giving 1v1s, and I mean, through the dark cover, that's an insult to injury. True trying to play with the running gun off a flashpoint from Padu is too strong, and with utility out, the last to fall will be knocked with a god. And match point is in fact secured by 5tails. And I mean, this team looks like they are drilled. They look like they have plans in place, and I mean, it's been insane so far. And I mean, EBS, like, the rounds they've won, I think they've caught them by surprise or just won their gunfights. But so far, the last 2 rounds, they've been shut out. And it's been like you're knocking on a door and getting slammed in your face, whether it's by the Sova or by the Jet, especially on the A side, where they have such a strong 3-person setup, mainly from that cross-map support. I'm wondering if B might be the answer here, and that's exactly what they're trying to test out here. The only thing is, Padu, who's been playing that B link alone, being responsible for the B side, has abandoned it this time. Instead was playing towards C. That's what they predicted here. But on the entry, that clone will do no good. Dylan will fall. So once again, numbers advantage for the retake, going in favor of 5tails. And although all the utility is starting to come out to aggress into Link, it'll be punished. Only a 1-for-1 trade. Numbers dwindling. Now you need to play together. That's exactly what they're trying to do. Marv, though, focusing too much yet again on the gun upgrade, letting their teammate fall here, and it's ultimately what will cost them the game off of that Blade Storm. 12-5, now 13-5 is what this score will end in. Everybody messing around here knows that they have now won and will be moving on to the semifinals. And win. I mean, if that isn't proof about why the composition that we saw was meta, I don't know what else would be. I mean, 3 initiators, it looked like they had something cooking, but the coordination that you require between that information to make sure you aren't wasting utility needs to be on point. And you saw it there. The same angle's getting cleared by a guided light, by a prowler, and that's ultimately what can not make it as effective. Either way, though, great attempt. I loved the Yoru pick, and they definitely were showing through on it, doing the same kind of job that Jet was when they were on their own attack. It more was just not enough time to start bringing things back for them. Either way, though, that does mean that 5tails Esports Black will be advancing into our semifinals. I do want to, however, go check in to see how the other matches are going. Oh, maybe, perhaps. Yes, I heard some music. It was funny. Either way, though, like I said, back to the results. It does look like we have Secret Champs won their matchup 13-2. So they will be going up against Habaxi, who won their matchup 13-3. And otherwise, we are waiting on dancers to esports organizations to finish out to see who will be taking on 5tail Esports Black. For now, though, as those games finish up, we are going to jump to a quick break. So stick around, and we will be back with our semifinals coverage. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Blue Skirmish Week 3 of our August series. Before the break, we saw our quarterfinals matchup where Five Tail Esports Black was able to move on to the semifinals, where they are currently off stream facing off against our current first place on the leaderboard. I believe it's first place, yeah, the Dancers. And that does mean, though, that we will be going to our other semifinals matchup on the other side of the bracket, which will be Habaxi versus Secret Champs. Now, this matchup is quite important, just because Habaxi is, I believe, about 20 points behind Dancers at the moment. So if they want a chance at closing this gap, they definitely need to get first place in this event. Hopefully against Dancers, or hopefully Dancers falls to Five Tails Esports Blacks, so then they get even less points. Regardless, though, Secret Champs, their opponent, will definitely be a hurdle to jump over, considering they have two higher Radiant players that they have to face off against, so my eyes will be on them personally. Either way, though, we are going to Ascent, where we will have, starting out in the defense is going to be Habaxi versus starting out on the attack will be the Secret Champs. Let's see if they in fact will be Secret Champs, though. I mean, if they come out of nowhere, this is their first week, and start winning everything, then I guess that would do it, no? But regardless, we are jumping in to... We already went through Agent Select. I actually lied to you guys. So Agent Select did reveal that it's mirror comms, okay? So it's the standard. It's what you're used to. So that's what we're at. And you can see here that we're already jumping in to the game, getting ready to go. Either way, like I said, this is our semifinals match, and it does look like, as we get ready, like I said, it's a mirror comp. So you have the standard double initiator, you have your sentinel, your controller, your duelist. Nothing out of the normal like we saw in our quarterfinals. But we already are going to have a confrontation here pretty early on, fighting for this mid control. Jet on jet action here. It's going to be joined by the Omen, so instead, since they are suppressed, they're forced to jump back, forced to concede that space temporarily, which has allowed Achilles to start creeping up catwalk, starting to go for this tree pressure. Spike is there as well, while the Killjoy is holding down tiles, making sure they don't get flanked. But my question is, are they waiting for some utility to entry on tree, or are they rotating like we see here now? They should expect this alarm bot here, and they will destroy it. But for now, what is the response here out of Habaxi? For now, it looks like they aren't going to be testing mid control. They're going to be giving it away a little bit, as the turret as well is going to make contact, and as the 0 point comes online, it'll also get destroyed. So they don't know how many players necessarily are here in market, here in Pizza, but they won't have to worry about it for long, considering the attention has been re-diverted into tree. But God's Punishment is waiting there. He's gonna find Sorted, and off of that flash drive, Rex is gonna shut down the push, but it's not without some Resurgence Revenge with a collateral with the Ghost of all things, complimented by one from God's Punishment. But it is gonna be obviously Lovejax in this 2v1 situation with literally 0 HP here, trying to unexpectedly swing out of the dark cover, but God's Punishment is ready for it, and they will get this round on the board with that 3k for their team here. And I know they were a stand-up last time they were on stream, but it looks like they are in just as good of a form here today. So we'll see if they keep it up here on this map. This was one of Habaxi's really solid maps last week as well. So it's interesting. Obviously, it is a comfort pick, obviously, for most teams, but Secret Champs definitely taking it to their own playground here to try and rob this win from them, rob their chance potentially of going claiming that first place on the leaderboard before week 4. But regardless, now jump into the second round. Obviously, they have the better weapons here, so you do have to get crafty if you are the Secret Champs. And it looks like for now, they're just evading that initiator utility. They're trying to find where these members might slip up, where there might be less presence or per se an opening. For now, though, this opening definitely isn't a main. I mean, off of this one way, obviously, God's Punishment is holding, ready to aggress, is even going to replace it once it fades. Question is, do they expect 4 of them there? And the answer is no. So Lovejax quickly will get a nice shot with the Frenzy, gets the weapon upgrade. Now, in the meantime, though, some aggression out of mid from the Jet as well, trying to find Rex, but so far they've just been baited to their death here, as well as Achilles found another with a classic of all things. So now 2v4,
Placing swarm grenade.
Spike has been planted, so now you're trying to play this retake, but you are pretty divided. I don't think you expect at least 2 here in Cubby. You might expect 1, but that's why they're going hand in hand, looking for the second, but they're going to be reloading, so the Killjoy. Rex, once again, playing very reserved. You're trying to play the backstab, and it'll work. Good for 1. Knows the second was there, probably from a comp from their teammate. So now you can see here, are they opting to save? I think they are. Bulldog in hand. It'll be a solid weapon to try and convert their anti-econ next round, but a huge thrifty coming out from Secret Champs. And like I said, they need to find those openings. That's exactly what they did. Now though, knowing that they've won the round, Rex is hunting down this Bulldog and will not be able to find it. So Crocus is able to take it into the next round. Like I said, might be able to hand it over to your Jet, might be able to hand it over to somebody who can be that hero player. Or if you keep it, you can be that hero player in yourself, Crocus. I know you have the clutch gene, we've seen it before. But either way, I think they did put a lot of pressure there on God's Punishment A main on that Omen, specifically just for holding it down, because as soon as they fell, right, it was just that tree player, and when you're smoked out with a dark cover, it's so hard to keep control of that. I mean, you even saw, like, then there was a mid-fight, and that just allowed the pinch to come through, and like those are the openings you need to find on your thrifty rounds. For now, though, it does look like they're going to get aggressive, knowing they have the worst weapons. 0 point out won't stop them here. They're good for 1, still hunting for more off of the cover fire from Crocus. Now they switch back weapons now that their hero play is done. Their HP is drained as well, so gonna keep it in the hands of the healthy here. Question is, how much longer will they be healthy? Because Kiex is exploring tree here a little bit, trying to test this dark cover. They had a nice crossfire, but they've now just banded it as well on the side of a backstay, instead opting to gather that information as dark cover falls, and that's exactly what they will be awarded. I'm not quite sure if they saw anybody other than the Jet, though. So for now, it is a little bit of a stalemate. Obviously, numbers in favor of Habaxty, but they also have the worst weapons here. Recon Bolt as well will confirm they are just sitting ducks here in mid for now. They are, though, going to finally test B main, but this Killjoy here, Kitty Glamour, has been waiting, and with a shorty, they go around the corner. Kiex now also dropped to a lifeline. They know the Killjoy utility is not online, but do they know that the rotations have come through? Do they know this KO is also on site stairs? The answer is no, but it doesn't even matter. It's Crocus with the crossfire from CT that awards the pick, awards the gun upgrade, and although the members have made their way onto site, they are quite split up. This might be exactly what Secret Champs wants, though. Love Jix going unbeknownst in the dark here on the flank of their life. What does it matter, though? All the action could be done before they even arrive. Rex holding things down alone. Finally, they're there. And like I said, from backside boat, Rex, lurk picks, sight hold picks, both picks, you name it, they have gotten it so far. 6-2, and they bring their team onto that second point, ensuring that their buy does not fall apart to a counter thrifty out of the side of a backstay. Now, though, they've tried A a few times, they've tested mid, and it looks like this time they don't want the Killjoy to be the solo hold here tiles. It looks like they are going to go for a faster push B, which it does look as an incorrect read on the side of Habaxty a little bit. They took their Killjoy off this site finally and put them A, put them towards tree, because they've been testing tree time and time again. The only thing is, if they fail this B hit and rotate towards tree, it could have an effect. But like I said, that requires the fail scenario, which so far hasn't happened. Lockdown will go out, and it looks like they're trying to destroy it with this utility, and the double shock dart and Molly will in fact do the job. But space has been gained and stripped away from Avenge off the ping on the recon bolt. As well as Lovejix finally on the rotation, good for 1. But now the op has been welcomed to the party with an opening pick to tie things up. Back to a 3-3 on this entry. They will have to drop it for now to try and get the job done. I like that they're conscientious of these players might be split, but do they know that Disordered is going to jump in to lane? The answer is no, and now Rex the backstab comes out for not one, but both players once again being that insurance policy and wrapping up the round with a nice little bow of a lost gift to the opposing team. Either way, that does allow them to pull on to 3, does allow them to kind of hopefully start building up that economy, end this economy cycle of, you know, thrifty buy. And it will put, once again, the opposing side, Habaxty, into this rough shape buy. I mean, they're going for full deagles. Some have light shields, the others probably with their full utility only have no shield, and it'll be interesting to see how they use these. The answer so far is put your Omen on A while the rest push down mid. Otherwise, though, this strategy has been thoroughly avoided so far. The question is, are they going to get back into the site fast enough so that the Secret Champs can't start playing their post-plant, can't stack up on this site? Either way, clearing all their angles, doing their due diligence, trying to get onto the site should be good for the plant, knowing that nobody is there. My question is, Kiax is playing aggressive here, is hunting. Will they get overwhelmed? Will they give a weapon over? So far, they're dropped to 40 HP, but still alive, still searching. Shock Dart, though, is going to finish them off. Crocus is going to try and recover that weapon with the rest of their team, but Disordered as they're ready, holding the angle as well as the recharge from Dark Cover coming out. And although numbers are dwindling, it's still in favor of Secret Champs, and even more so followed up. They know where God's Punishment is. They've found Zash, and now it's all but over. They swarm on the last player onto God's Punishment, who's at least good for one, but that is all they wrote as they steamboat ahead on to 4 here. Now, this is the round that I think things are going to get interesting. Number one, they're back to rifle on rifle action, and if you lose this round as a backseat, you are in a pretty bad spot. I mean, it'll be 5-1. You won't have guns again, so it'll likely be 6-1, and then that's where you have to be starting to fight for that just tied half. But I think this is the round where that chaos is going to come in because there are so many ultimates on the table. Double Hunter Fury, double Bladestorm, double from the shadows, and the Null command to try and counter them all. And as I said, the chaos is ensuing. Both Bladestorms out. It's the fast rush getting shut down single-handedly by Rex. Not 1, not 2, but 3. Who's up to bat next? It looks like it's gonna be Kitty, and they will also fall back to Disordered on the other side of the map, but now Revenge is left with what do I do? The answer is find one and get killed by the trade. I mean, I know I said it was gonna be chaos, but I didn't expect it that fast out of the gate. Either way, though, I mean, all those ultimates were mainly on the side of a backseat. I mean, actually, technically, they really no ultimates were used other than those Bladestorms. And yeah, no, just the Bladestorms used for both teams, which is pretty wild. But it does give them all the tools they need to either convert a Thrifty or ensure a Thrifty isn't converted on the side of Secret Champs. Either way, though, it does look like they're going for an aggressive trap play off of this Paranoia from God's Punishment here, B main, and that looks like that's where they're headed. On the side of Secret Champs, they should all get hit by this. It does allow Kitty to cross, but not fast enough. And as the Null command comes out, they are left with nothing to counter other than their own gun skills. Crocus with a hero rifle, they force the down. And whew, guns on guns action so far, though. Numbers advantage in favor. Rex, though, like I said, the one to have to clutch this up will get the res, but do they get out of the animation fast enough? Yes. So Rex, once again, keeping their team alive, keeping their team in this, bring things back from what I believe what it was, a 1v3 now to a 2v1. It ain't even been a 1v4. Either way, though, both players are low while full HP light shield is what Zash is on. Free Fire doesn't quite land. They're probably getting the comms that both team members are pretty low. The question is, will they be able to flick 180 fast enough? No! Like I said, that's when you want to, I don't want to call it a crowd spray, it looked more like a target swap, but when they are both low HP, both next to each other, that's when that spray from left to right will help you win the rounds, help you get the clutch from the grave. I mean, that was just an insane attempt out of Rex, 15-3, but ultimately, if you let Hibaxi start heating up, I mean, it's history, and so far, they definitely aren't out yet. 2-5, still have some groundwork to do. If they want a chance of tying things up before, you know, either a lead or a tied half, that 6 or 7 point line is established. But for now, I mean, once again, only one ultimate used in the entire arrangement from either team, and that time it was the Null command to get them into that B site and allowed them ultimately to win the round, I would say, because the resurrection then came in, or the reboot. But for now, you can see here, Zash picking up the operator again. Not expected as Kiax will dry swing it there. Disordered, though. A quick little trade out, so we are back to 4-on-4. Revenge now, like I said, though, when they fall, the only player now left on this site, so it prompts the rotation out of Hibaxi to come over and see that God's Punishment has replaced the Hold Heaven. But I do like this pivot, this final adjustment coming out from Secret Champs. They usually have followed through on these sites. They haven't really rotated much unless it was them holding mid early on and then deciding a site to go to. So the fact that they've had this 1-for-1 trade on A and now abandoned the control, minus Distorted here, who's in wine trying to get a late lurk. It's impressive and does show that they're trying to learn how to dismantle the holds here. I do think that in this case, though, they are about to hit the site that's readily stacked because of that over-rotation from a backstep. But let's see if they can dismantle this tree hold, which is the first step. So far, though, they probably hear the fire from both the util as well coming through. But the first layer of Distorted, like I said, on that lurk from Wine is good for one. But ultimately, Revenge, like I said, able to push out Cherie, able to start extending that information. Question is, do they expect them still to be there? They see them cross, but Rex is ready.
Planted.
And that from the shadows was so pivotal here from Lovejix, not only to get away from Revenge, but also ensure the plant here. The thing is, though, it is a 1v1 fight here with Kitty on the site. If they can get it, they would be able to have potentially defuse opportunity. No, drop to 15 HP. The cavalry has arrived, and now they're even suppressed. Might be ring around the rosy time since it's played out in the open, unless the fragment can finish them off. For now, no. So they're instead going to go on the offensive here, going to take this fight aggressively, and it works temporarily. I mean, now that they're unsuppressed, they have this utility back online, but I don't think they realize that KO's coming over the same angle the Killjoy was on. And no, that's a third kill, I should say, on the board for Disordered to secure them 6, secure them a tied half at least. And I mean, I want to point out, Disordered is the highest ranked player in this lobby, I believe. You know, I mean, Rex, yes, they're putting up the numbers, but they are currently Immortal 3 versus the Radiant, you know, I think it was like 100 something. And I feel like that kind of round is what shows you how easily they were able to work the map. They started out A main with the rest of their team there. They're able to get the trade off of the op kill. Then they lurked there for another kill, and then they went mid and finished off the rotation. And they were kind of that stable anchor for their team as they were working the map. For now, though, no anchors, no stability here since they are being faced head-on by the aggression once again from a backseat. And so far, I mean, it's working out, so, except for Rex again. Evening things back up, giving them back the numbers advantage. Quickly stripped away, though, so it's going to be a 2v2. And Lovejix and Rex have now pinched this last player. They know where they are, they know they have a deagle, and there it is, Rex, yet again, being that linchpin, being the individual to shut down the aggression, solo-handed, I would say, time and time again, out of mid on these tiles pinches from a backseat. And I mean, if you're a backseat, I don't want to say to give up on them, but I think you need a way to counter this Killjoy, because like, you're able to get away with that on other teams in week 1 and week 2. Like, you would just win your gunfights, they would whiff their shots. Here, though, clearly Secret Champs has solid foundation, has solid aim, has these plans and counter reactions in place, so you need to find out an alternate solution. So far, it looks like that idea might be to have nobody playing on B and instead occupy this mid, occupy this tree, since those are the points that they like to abuse on the side of Secret Champs. But for now, I mean, I think it's the correct read, right? You have Rex now here, about to challenge Zash and Tree. The question is, will it be fast enough, considering there's 4 members on Cat? Make that 3 now in mid, as one will fall as the first blood. The thing is, though, they don't follow up. Instead, they might repivot into mid, which is exactly what Habaxty wants. That's the other heavily loaded area of the map, which is why I think this Outlaw is coming out. They're trying to figure out what the plan is. They're trying to figure out what spot is the best to hit. And I also think they want to go into this site just because of this lurk once again coming out from Distorted here A main. They've established that presence, and even the 0 point is going to confirm exactly how many members are in tree. They know what they're walking into here, versus mid, where Killjoy's been playing, is unknown. What isn't known further, though, is the fact that Zash is that close. Does get the spike down, but in the dark cover, they're challenging a shorty. And Lovejix, once again, they're now left in a 4v1 situation. Spike is down as the pings come out. All you need is a spray down, is a wallbang. And there it is, 7-3. Although the numbers advantage is in favor of Secret Champs going to the next half, they want to end on that 7-5. They want a chance continuing on. They want a chance at bringing their leaderboard spot from second to first. And I mean, although this round they are on a little bit lighter of a buy, I mean, they still are forcing the rifles. They still have some money left over and going for these light shields. They have 4 ultimates to work with in order to try and convert things. On the other side, though, they do also have the counter lockdown and the Hunter's Fury to make sure that the lockdown doesn't come into place on a retake. So I think This B choice coming out from Secret Champs is smart. We've seen this play time and time again, try and deny space. And I think that is all the information you need if you're backstage. 5 suppressed, you can see the Killjoy, you can see the Omen rotating through mid here now. And as the execution comes through, they don't clear out logs. It doesn't matter, they'll full blinded, they still just spray and pray, and it's a red and blue alternation of trades left and right. So we are back to a 3-3. They haven't addressed Crocus backside just yet, but are wary of them being there. All this utility being dumped, but not finding its mark. They know that they're there because of the pre-fire, but it's a pinch of the right click and Disordered to finally bring numbers back into their favor, finally get the plant down. But look at this lockdown and the follow-up counter. I mean, this is the Valorant play you love to see. They are pinched in a situation where they want to capitalize on this, but might not be able to. Detain, but from the shadows is exactly what they needed. They're somehow able to get the lockdown destroyed, and it is just like that. Finally, a Killjoy death coming out from Kitty on the backstage side, and whew, I mean,
You don't deserve my inventions.
I wish we had replays. I want to see exactly how that lockdown got destroyed. I was so focused on the Omen from the shadows, which should have completely taken out that possibility. But ultimately, very clean from both sides. That was expensive, though. They used 3 ultimates on the side of Backsty. So now they are going to have to rely just on these guns, just on this operator that Zash has, in order to secure that 7-5. On the other hand, right, it's the last round. So you're going to dump all these ultimates. You're going to dump the Blade Storm. You're going to dump the Null Command. You're going to dump the Hunter's Fury, maybe on a post plant, if you are Secret Champs, in order to secure an 8-4 over that 7-5. Either way, like I said, here comes the double. The Blade Storm and the Null Command out to get them on this site. This time, though, I think they expected it, which is why Crocus was playing in market, but ultimately they caught with utility out. They will be the first to fall, and it's gonna have to be a retake, which, like I said, is why this Hunter's Fury is also gonna be something to deal with. I mean, Achilles, although they're playing on site, they can easily use it from boat if the Null Command doesn't strip it away, as well as finally Rex's flank really hold is dismantled by God's punishment, an adjustment we haven't seen until this last round. The crossfires are failing, though, as a judge from Kiox is only gonna find one. So now the last 2 players are pinned in boat. They know the dark covers are out. They're trying to force out. They're sticking. Do they even know? No, the fake from the shadows will stop them. They just stick it all the way through, unbeknownst to Secret Champs.
Switching sides.
And that is the adjustment that we needed to see. 7-5 finally closed the gap, at least decently, so that if you win this pistol, you win your bonus. You should be able to convert things pretty well. You should be able to tie things up, and it has to start here. For now, though, like I said, I mean, you finally learned, but now you've swapped tasks, so you have to restart your lesson on your opposing team. And I mean, look at this difference already out of the defense on the side of Secret Champs. 3A about to aggress versus this Killjoy Sova hold on B. They have the Storm Grenade in the entrance to deny any initial aggression, but let's see if Revenge's 0 point will strip that option away from them.
All your opponents.
Kelly is also there ready. Has obviously that recon bolt to try and further distract, further delay. And like I said, there it is. All that Killjoy utility that was so perfectly placed offline, not an option anymore. And you can't even peek because there's a fragment on stairs from those lineups. So suddenly you're getting steamrolled by the opposing team. If anybody can do it, it's Rex, but they're only good for 1. So it will be a 4v3 retake. But I do want to point out that Sova Crocus pretty low, so it easily could come back if you play your cards right. For now, though, Silence, setting up your crossfires, taking the leap out of CT once these smokes recharge, once this 0 point recharges. Making their way into sight. The question is, where are these players playing? Do you expect God's punishment here in Garage? And the answer is yes. Kiox is going to find them. And suddenly, somehow, Disordered is good for 1. So it is going to be even back at 2v2. They know these 2 players are back in bow, but Kiox is trapped in the corner and blind. They just give up, run with the knife out, and just like that, 6-7. Like I said, you win your pistol, you win your follow-up. We might have a tied game on our hands. I mean, what was it? It was 5-1 out the gate. I mean, they won their pistol from Habaxi side, and then the Thrifty came through on the side of Secret Champs, and they were able to take that on a 5-round run. The question here is, though, now, is it possible we'll see a Thrifty again come out from Secret Champs? I mean, they did it last half. Can they do it again? If they did, that would be insane. For now, though,
Revealing area.
does look like we're trying to see where they want to go. Obviously, they're comfortable testing the waters over towards A, which has caused them now to revert their attention to B, where finally they've destroyed this 0 point. So no utility offline for this entry. The turret will get the information it needs, but otherwise they're basically giving this entry part of site over to the opposing team and trying to hold on to this boat, hold on to the site position. And so far it hasn't worked, and there it is again. Kitty just mowing them down. The rotations this time finally faster. They don't really have cold feet into the site, and it works out for 2, but ultimately it's now 1v3. We're disordered at 1 HP. Might even get killed by a turret. No, it's revenge with the wallbang from the Guardian. That does mean that we are tied here at 7-7 like predicted. This is where you have to start figuring out how to step things up, how to adjust. I mean, I feel like most of the adjustments first half to get to that 7-5 came out from a backseat versus it was more minor kind of changes coming out from Secret Champs. This though, now you've lost the first 2. Yes, you have rivals, but you need to make sure that if they win this round, you're learning from your mistakes and making the required changes.
Placing swarm grenade.
Like I said though, such a dominant bonus round. They should have the weapons. They're trying to take them up mid, trying to once again catch the opposing side off guard like they're used to doing. And so far, it's pretty much worked. Once again, site and space being conceded, respectfully given over for a retake attempt to come through on the side of Secret Champs. And once again, through the smoke, another player chipped away at Achilles. Gonna have to be careful. My other thing I want to highlight is look exactly where Revenge is right now. They are in prime position for a backstab here. CT, all 5 of these players here. Question is, how many will they get with this Guardian? The answer so far, 1, and that is all. They row suddenly at 2 for 2 terrain. We're even back at 3-3. Many players at very low HP though, so this could go either way as they dodge, bob, and weave these wallbang shots. And it's actually an overextension from Kiux, a lone lane that'll give these 1v1s over to Crocus time and time again, allowing them to pull forward onto their 4K for the round. 8-7, suddenly the tables are turned, and Abaxi looks like they had a slow start out the gate on their defense, quickly changing the momentum back into their favor and show no signs of stopping just yet. I mean, it's been, I feel like, I think I've said this in different ways all 3 rounds that we've seen of this half so far. It's just, it seems like Secret Champs has been a little bit too respectful. They haven't been as confident in their gun skills. They've been conceding space over on the B side too readily, which has been taken advantage of time and time again, versus A is the complete opposite, right? They've been consistently taking space here, ready to fight. This time might be the first time they're granted that war, but they don't have the weapons to try and win it. So this is the time where you would have hoped it wasn't the plan. Either way though, like I said, showing 0 respect is the opposition. Abaxi tailwind into the site like normal, like it's a Tuesday afternoon, in this site, and they will get the plant down. And once again, I think this is like the second or third time where it's going to be a full retake coming out, this time with worse weapons. Does mean though that they have the utility. Sova utility though won't do much to stop Zash from finding Rex there, and Lovejix as well. These crossfires are too good. Only Achilles able to find one with that deagle and the dry peek out main. They know where Disordered is. They know it's a 1v4. They are hunting them down, and although they're flashed, they still find the Phantom Spray, God's punishment, to bring their team on to 9-7 here. And I mean, it's not even just a matter of that they're winning these rounds. It's a matter that they're winning these rounds so dominantly. They're bringing 4 or 5 weapons in. I mean, you can look at their economy. You can look at their, like, 7K, 8K, almost 6K. Like, they have weapons to buy for a round or 2 versus, you know, on the opposition here. They have, like, they're forcing 5 Vandals, but Kiux, as a Spectre, foresees the Bladestorm. And if they lose this round, they're broke again. And suddenly, it could be round 11-7. Either way, though, let's see if our hero Jet Play can find his mark. Finally, like I said, taking the fight to them B main this time, and it's shut down yet again. This time by Revenge, taking the spotlight. The follow-up just as strong as well. Paranoia out, isolating Disordered. And I mean, they're probably gonna expect somebody boat just because time and time again, that's where people have been hiding on this team, but nobody clears it. But it's no insult to injury because nobody is there this time. Zash, knowing they have the numbers advantage, it's gonna play a little cocky here. It's gonna push upstairs. Gonna be that first point of contact. Probably gonna have the Omen God's Punishment swing once they fall. Once these players funnel out. Somehow they're against the edge of the 0 point as well. Nice little swaps sides coming out as well. But all of this utility that they didn't use entering into sight because they punished the aggression. You can see coming out there in the late round. And I mean, Revenge 4K from the denial of aggression to then the follow-up. Beautifully done. And I mean, like I said, slow start, but every player definitely firing on all cylinders now if you are Baxty. And I mean, 10-7, not only are you broke if you are the Deagle squad of Secret Champs, but now you're against 4 ultimates too. So even if you start bringing it back, you might see, you know, 100 straight, you might see an old command that strip that chance away from you, that bring this team on to the 11-7 that I predicted. Either way, once again, it looks like a very similar play to how we saw Secret Champs taking their B site, as this Paranoia no command combination will come out. I mean, they're not even using it as an insurance policy. They are taking no chances here. They are running into site that has 3 people, but so far they've taken it with no real error. Once again, gonna challenge these players back site and win almost flawlessly. Rex, though, I was gonna say, still alive, able to make it hurt, able to bring numbers back to a 3v3. But like I said, that Jet so low, Kiex a breath away.
One enemy remaining.
There it is. God's Punishment to be the one to spare them. So it is just Love Jix. Left in the 3v1, now 2v1 with that Deagle shot. Trying to go for the weapon upgrade, but that exchange has dropped them as well down to 6 HP. And I mean, there it is, time and time again, the finisher, God's Punishment, dishing it out, bringing their team to 11-7, starting to close the door of opportunity on to Secret Champs. For now, though, Ultimate's now in favor of neither side. 3-on-3 action, and I mean, you finally have weapons back. I mean, they have an Odin, they have an Operator. They're full investing into this round. I'm guessing that we're also going to see the ultimates to complement that, because this does feel like, I don't want to say a last hurrah, but if they lose this, it's match point. It's definitely a gamble, but I mean, it's better than having a life by here and having to play for 5 rounds in a row is their thought process. And I mean, you already see it here. Hunter's Fury out, trying to deny these op angles, deny any aggression that's quickly space being taken by Baxley Tree. Freaking unrespected that space. And look, even Zash challenging the Odin. It'll cost them almost their life. There it is, the follow-up as Lovejax will also find revenge. So far, they finally shutting down a site tape before it happens. The difference is, though, Baxty now forced to rotate, spike, and spawn on its way to B, where the Tiles player has been. Look who's waiting. Rex, who was so dominant in the first half, consistently shut down other than the last round. Holding this site. Turret could be enough to kill, or this swarm grenade, knowing that they're at only 20 HP. There it is. And once again, door shut. Suppression not even gonna help either. An insult to injury, per se. And I think this Odin's more of a scare tactic at this point, because this player is so low. They're like, I don't even want to try going for garage here. So once again, headed back over to A, which has actually been completely abandoned by Secret Champs. I mean, they had Disordered rotate over. The question is, they've gotten back on. They should know that they're holding heaven. I think, though, they're just gonna wait and play the retake with their team. 15 seconds left, trying to spray down the potential plant location. Won't quite work, so at least plant money's here, but your numbers are dwindling. It's a 5v2, and I don't want to say it's a flawless towards match point, and it won't because of God's Punishment, but 11-7. Finally cracking the code, finally shutting them down on their initial aggression and following up in the late round. I mean, yes, they kind of went all in on the buy. I mean, they had the op, they had the Odin, and it looks like they're gonna bring those into this next round and even double down on it. Look, Achilles picking up an Odin on their own as well. And
Placing swarm
I
grenade.
really wanted to see Kitty by the Odin. They were contemplating it. There it is. That might be exactly what they needed to be like. No, we're the Odin users. No, you're not gonna do it? Come on, get the Odin. I'm the little demon on your shoulder. Buy the Odin. Either way, even if they go with the Vandals, it's full of Vandals versus this kind of creative buy, which could be the solution to start tying things up. 11-8, only 3 rounds separating these teams. Looks like the backstees change as responses. Okay, if you're gonna shut down our one-sided hit, let's default. Let's approach different angles at the same time so your forces are split up, are fragmented. Which so far, I mean, no one has really bit, and because of that, Zash hunting is even gonna find if the jump peak spawn? Was it a spawn jump peak? I think it was. Either way, Zash's first blood on the round, and because they were spawn side, they think B is the less defended site, but it's still a 2-2. Killjoy utility offline now. Achilles and Rex gonna play retake with their team.
Placing swarm grenade.
I mean, I think that's a good idea, right? You have a Hunter Tree, you have an ult command, you have a lockdown, all great retake tools. Question is, can Zash put a thorn in their side? Can they ensure that they can't get close enough to invest this lockdown? So far, they are playing this CT position. Backing off the stairs. I wonder if they're going to go for the late flank, but I think they're just going to weather the storm with their team here. Trying to provide this crossfire on site as the Odin spray comes through. Avenge is actually the one to find the first. TX as well with a classic of all things. They take the Odin offline.
One enemy remaining.
I mean, with this resurrection coming in, they don't even take the chance of allowing the lockdown to come through. They use it on their own right. And Achilles, 2 and 16, I think, at this round start, and they have tripled their kills, and that might be exactly what has allowed them to bring their match into this 9-11 2-round differential. And I mean, both these teams, I mean, if they come back and we go to OT per se, or even like a 13-11, they'll have had a slow start and then brought it back towards the end of their half on their defensive sides respectively. And I mean, I think that's a testament to Ascent and just how long it takes for you to learn about your team and what they're doing and find a counter strategy. And I feel like we're finally starting to see them counter strat. I think that first, or that 2 rounds ago, where, sorry, 3 rounds, yeah, no, a round ago, where they finally like had this buy of the Odin, of the operator, and put them in the right spots at the right time was pivotal. Now though, if you're backsteed, you're trying to reassess, you're trying to figure out, okay, where could this opening be? And they've gotten on a site pretty well recently, and it looks like that's exactly what they're going for with this mid pinch. But they have to deal with the Odin spray from CT, so how do they deal with that? Button closed, challenging the site, nobody will be there, so they are once again, I don't want to say going back to their old ways, but they're going to play retake on the side of Secret Champs. So let's see if there is any difference. They used the lockdown, they used the null command last round, so those are no longer options. You can use it from the shadows for information, but otherwise it is just utility to get their way out of CT. And here it is, the counter lockdown from the attackers to make sure they cannot get into the site. But that just draws up the Hunter's Fury and the players from CT. They're swarming it,
Enemy remaining.
and they will die as a result. The backstab putting Distorted in a 1v3 situation, and they will fall. So even though it's delayed, Habaxi will pull on to their match point.
Match point.
Let's end this.
Ooh, that round was a mouthful, was chaotic, and I mean, I do think it's pretty clear that B side is Secret Champs Kryptonite a little bit. I think they have, obviously, Achilles, they have Rex there, but they just haven't been able to find the same effects. I think when they had the 3-stack B and were playing this A retake, I think that was when it was one of their stronger rounds. So it's interesting that they've reverted back to this 3-2 hold. Otherwise, though, it is going to be A finally. That operator to be forced off the angle quite aggressively by this updraft tailwind. Not quite giving him all the space, though. It's going to be a quick rotation. Sprays through dark covers from both ends. Not going to connect onto anybody just yet, but it's an early push out, and it will cost them their life. Odin's there for the trade, though, and it's a 3v2. And suddenly the crossfire and sorted in tree will not only afford them the pick, but a weapon upgrade. So it's Kitty with their own Odin left. Their device is left the 2v1. And although they've grinded the 1v1s, that might be their demise. Rex has done it before. Can they again? Kitty in the 1v1, trying to show who is the better Killjoy. Rex having the higher stakes, obviously. Has Spike on site. Knows that if they lose, their team is out of week 3. It's an interesting choice to hide on the box, considering the wallbang potential of this Odin. But both players trying to fake, not knowing where they are. It'll be a question of timing, and Rex has just that. Pulls their team on to double digits and keeps them alive here. 12-10. I mean, what more could you ask for other than come back so nicely from both teams, both dragging themselves out of the hole. And I mean, 12-10, the job's not done yet. You still have 2 rounds if you want a chance at OT, if you want a chance to rewrite the outcome, or I would say predestined outcome of this matchup. But regardless, I mean, that's the first time we've seen a backseat really go for it in a while, and obviously it failed as a result. And I think that's why they're instead being on this more B-centric, B-sided approach, especially toying with mid, which has really not been contested too much, especially Tree on the side of Secret Champs. Bladestorm though gonna lead the way, especially with Revenge there. The Keax has not been addressed main. Because of that, they are not done hunting. Finally, they realize the last player might be main, but it's a little bit too late. And they will be good for 2 now. Kitty, again in the clutch situation, again at low HP. This time, though, it's an even harder build. Not just Rex to fight, but Achilles as well. And Spike as well on the other side of Tree. So you have to cross over this. You can see they even have utility to use later into the round, if they want to. For now, though, silence. Trying to fake things out, trying to bait what they can. And they have plenty of time. 45 seconds to experiment with, to try and outplay, to outmind these individuals. You have to figure out a way to get them split up, though. 23 HP, it's going to be really hard to get a trade in this situation. The first up to bite left is Achilles. Shocker, though, would finish them out, and they somehow just barely avoid its radius. Look at the respect that opening shown. They've given the spike to Kitty, and Kitty's gonna run for the save. I was gonna say, are they running for the B side or the save? And I mean, it's interesting though that they were going for the spike, going for that pick, and then opted to save. But I mean, it's the right call, right? It'll be 12-11. You're gonna be 1 off for match point. You're gonna have a few solid ultimates to work with. You won't have the best buy, but this Vandal will definitely help in that situation. Either way, let's see if the comeback will in fact come through, if we will be going to OT or not in this situation. Does look like, though, like I said, the stronger site for this team has been that B site, and that's exactly where they're trying to end this now. Especially, obviously, they have no Hunter Tree, they have nothing to counter this lockdown, so in Garage will be such a beneficial, such a strong positioning to get it into place. Only potential counter is the Odin spam, especially if it connects on a Kitty like it just started to. It is going to allow that open site space backside, though, because they're avoiding the wallbang from it. Otherwise, though, CT not quite smoked out yet. So they're going to be able to take those fights easily with the Odin, and as that recon bullet gets the timing perfectly, the Odin spray is just as solid. The other thing that's solid is Love Jix. I was going to say with that ultimate over to the site, but God's Punishment's ultimate is better. Bringing things back to a 4v4 situation. And explaining why there weren't smokes on CT. They were so worried about that pinch position to secure the site. And now, waiting for it to come back online. Here's the second layer. And finally, a change from Secret Champs. Is it too late? They're finally fighting to keep this site control, and it's working. 3v1, and just like that, they will secure the OT, a chance to rewrite that half and move on in week 3 of Blue Skirmish. And I mean, I was getting flashbacks that round, right? I mean, when Secret Champs was on theirs, it was Rex going wild and was able to get the resurrection or the reboot off of Disordered, and that time tried to do the same but unable to thanks to that pressure. And I mean, this is obviously the half where both of these teams are expected to win their attack. It's more who can crack the code or remember what they learned on their defense faster. So far, does look like we have a change, obviously, coming out from a backseat. They have the Killjoy over on A. They have the 3 persons kind of leaning towards B with the Sova mid for some early information. But otherwise, it doesn't look like they're going to play too aggressive out the gate unless there's going to be like a pop flash jet dash play. Either way, though, Paranoia, like usual, coming out. from Secret Champs to try and pave their way. I didn't even realize this, that Zash has an operator again. I mean, they were able to use it the previous half, but it's narrowly going to be avoided this time as the tailwind will expire and Spike is in fact headed towards the A, where this Killjoy is the solo person solo person on site. If God's Punishment's gamble doesn't pay off, that fragment's going to force their hand into the paranoia, but it's not going to work. They're prepared for it. So like I said now, Kitty, the last line of defense here. Utility doing its job, allowing the time for the team to rotate, but either way, Plant will still come through as the shock darts will come out late. But Zash now, with the operator, like I said, makes their way to the site. It's a difficult retake tool, so they're more being the anchor for their team here in this post plant, holding the consistent angle. Suddenly, though, numbers dwindling 3v3. Tied back up. They know where at least one is. It doesn't matter, though. It's quickly traded back yet again, and Rex left main as that insurance policy will find its mark. They try to isolate, but the running gun from Lovechicks with this Odin is unrivaled. And just like that, the leaders reclaim the lead from their first half. They pull ahead. And I mean, I feel like, we've seen three people on this Odin. We've seen Lovechicks, we've seen Achilles, and we've seen Kitty. And although Kitty's 22 and 18, it definitely is Lovechicks that has found the most impact with it so far. And I would not be surprised if it's pivotal here and denying a site, denying, you know, a re-rotation of these OT rounds. Either way, though, we'll have to wait and see. And I'm surprised that they haven't kind of positioned another player even deeper on B, just because of the fact that that's where Habaxi has been going time and time again. This round being no exception. Alrighty, Util for Util, trying to get into this site. Dark cover in place this time, so that mistake corrected from the last. They've taken the site control, and once again, it looks like kind of going into their early defensive hash strategy playbook of playing retake together. This time, though, it's going to be more fast-paced. The dash in, disordered. It's working out so far. 4v3 in their favor, clearing every angle methodically. Question is, do they expect the backstab from God's Punishment? Not yet, and just like that, we're even. 2v2, player on site though is isolated, which puts God's Punishment in this 1v1 situation. Just like that, somehow through the box of Valor, a moment and a half. It didn't even look like it was on their head. The flick is too strong. God's Punishment with these aggressive lurks, getting the timing right, getting the clutches, keeping their team in this. And we go back to 13-13. Whew. I mean, okay, what did I say, right? These teams are like better on their attack. It's who can crack the defense first. And I will say, I mean, that round, it did look like Secret Champs was coming close to pinpointing the right thing, to figuring things out. So let's see if this kind of cycle is any different here. Obviously now you can see a difference is that Crocus has picked up the Odin on their own right here for B main. They might not be aggressing it just yet. Instead, they're going towards the other powerful weapon in the house. It's going to be Zash, good for one. Ultimately, though, unable to escape from confines of that Cubby prison. And now it's silent as they try to figure out how to repivot, try to rebound. That rebound, though, might be into the contact of the turret, into contact of the Odin if this recon bolt lands. I mean, if you're pinged out, this dark cover won't matter, but it won't find anybody here. So for now, they're more of a dark horse lying and waiting as these flash plays, as these swings and information are going to start coming through. How they can test? The answer is, like I said, a lot of shots and the crossfire from Kitty as well. And just like that, I mean, even though I said that it looked like Secret Champs might have figured out their defense, finally a round is won on the defensive side by Habaxi.
Switching sides.
Shutting down mid control, shutting down B main control, and pulling themselves back into the lead, back into a match point where they're on their theoretically stronger half. And looks like, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They've won on their attack time and time again going B, versus the few rounds they went A, they were shut down. That's when those comeback kind of pivot points started happening for Secret Champs. And I'm curious, they finally have the adjustment here, right? They finally have this 3 people, now 4 people on this site, and it might be exactly what they need. I mean, they've gotten the first blood. I mean, and interesting, the difference here is that Habaxi is still hitting this site. They aren't rotating. They aren't giving up their initial plan A, which is to hit B. Finally, as the bleeding continues with their re-entry losing their life, they're like, okay, let's test other avenues. Let's finally start exploring mid, see if God's punishment can do anything, can pull anything out of their kitchen, out of their recipe book for success. I mean, so far the answer is no. This dark cover more providing safety and a lack of information of this crossfire that's established on lane. 0 point is not going to help there. At least both of those players getting spotted out while Spike is still there as well. I mean, yes, Killjoy, yes, you know, Kitty's been here in Tree for a little while, but I don't know if they've made any contact. They've just destroyed any utility. I mean, the Killjoy's even just waiting for this alarm bot to go off.
30 seconds left.
This jiggle peaks. Dark cover as well coming out. Golden spray allows the teammates to cross, but that's exactly the indicator that Secret Champs needed. They're able to get the rotations to come through pretty quickly, so although spike and plant will happen, these players are already here. They're already ready to retake, and they are one member up. Only thing going for Backstee is the fact that they do have the spike planted. They do have the clock now ticking for Secret Champs. 2 players in hell here, and that Jenny jump is too strong. Good for, I was gonna say 2, but ultimately the teammates are too good, and it's going to be evened out yet again. 14-14 as we head into our second, actually this will be our, technically our third rotation of OT. Ooh, I mean,
Switching sides.
each one their attack, each one their
Overtime.
defense. That is how you know that this game is close. How you know that these teams are pretty evenly matched. And I mean, finally, like I said, I wanted to see that defensive adjustment out of Secret Champs rounds and rounds ago. I mean, you know this team likes to hit A over and over again, and B over and over again, and it works for them. And they finally, when they made the change, they won the round. Regardless, though, on the other side, Secret Champs start changing things up every OT rotation. This time, opting to go A while Rex lurks tiles. And we've seen this work so often when they over-aggress into mid, but that's also a change that has come out here. I mean, if you're a Backstee, you haven't really pushed out mid this round. You're holding your angles. You aren't taking any fights. You don't have to. That might change so quickly with Dash. Oh my goodness, making me a liar after that flashpoint from their teammate, but their life is stripped away. Is replaced though by their teammate, replaced by Revenge. They realize that is too risky for the prospective reward. Instead, we'll opt for a trap play with Crocus here, trying to distract from Revenge, and it works, at least good for one. Paranoia gonna force them off the angle, not allow them to find anything else. And it's suddenly a mash dash towards B, which is an undefended site. Nothing to worry about there, really. So it will be a 3v4 retake as plant goes through. What's interesting, though, is look at this spawn exchange about to come down. There it is. Revenge finds Distorted. Now they'll start rotating over, so it will be even. But like I said, it's all time cost, and is it worth it here? And so far, I mean, time's already against them as they start filtering into this site. They're going to confirm that Rex is at least garage, so they know there's 2 site, 1 garage. But they're trying to get these fights together, and nobody's looking in the direction of stairs. And although Lovejix is good for 1, it's traded. Now Kitty left in the 1v2 time and time again, and we've seen how this ends, usually with Secret Champs on top, and that's exactly what they do. Now let's see if they maintain the adjustments they made their last defensive OT cycle. I mean, they put the 3 on B, which is what it looks like they're doing, and then had the 2A. The only difference is, look at Backstee not hitting B this time, and that's what we like to see. They're finally also like, okay, we lost our last attack hitting B, so now we have to change up what we're doing. The question is, the jet that I said was on B has quickly come A, and we know how aggressive these teams like to be out A main. It looks like that's exactly what we're gonna see here yet again. It's gonna be a pinch play this time from Tree through main, and they are getting absolutely shredded here. Christmas tree of colors, as it'll be a 3v2. This Odin spam from Lovejix hitting all of its shots. It's a 2v3. Spike is recovered. Bazash getting a little aggressive here. Makes me worried that Revenge might be put into a 1v3 or 1v2 situation. That's exactly what happens. And I mean, when you're on match point like this, that's not a gamble you want to make. All the weight of the world now on Revenge's shoulders. Their chances at securing first place on the leaderboard this week slipping away. And now the Aldred as well to confirm their positioning. You're looking at double Odin spray and Rex with the Vandal, and just like that, it will end. I mean, finally, Habaxi, I feel like getting shut down, their strategies being countered, and the adaptations coming out from Secret Champs too strong. And I mean, great showing. I mean, 1-5 to come back to a 7-5 and then pull back. It's from both sides. The give and pull was amazing. And I feel like Abaxi, if Secret Champs comes back in week 4, I think this would be an amazing rematch to witness, because I think it was just so close. It was pivotal decisions there, left and right, that decided who was going to walk away with that game. And with that, I mean, all the players were really performing to their best ability, I would say, on both teams. I mean, there's like things you can nitpick, but ultimately at the end of the day, Secret Champs will walk away to join our finals for week 3. In the meantime, though, it does look like I can cover our other matches results, which was also a nail biter. It was 15-13, Dancers versus Five Tails Esports Black. So Dancers will continue their reign and move in to the finals to face off against Secret Champs. And I mean, this is interesting, right? Because that means that they will get a lot more points to keep them in the lead over Habaxi, who has now fallen in the semifinals instead of the finals. Either way, though, we are going to jump probably right into that after a quick break once their map picks are done. So stick around and we will see you there. Hello, hello, everybody. And after a long day and a long semifinals match, we finally have our two grand finals teams for week 3 of our August Blue Skirmish series. And those teams are Secret Champs versus Dancers. And I just want to point out as well that off stream our other two teams, which are Five Tails Esports Black, and obviously Habaxty will be competing for that third place, a little bit of a point differential on that leaderboard. So, don't count Habaxty out yet. Maybe they'll have a chance in week 4 to overtake the Dancers. But for now, our map for our grand finals of Dancers versus Secret Champs is none other than Lotus. So let's actually jump into the game, and you can see Agent Select has already been going through, and it looks like so far there are some differences. We have that double controller, kind of standard, I would say, for Lotus lately, versus looks like we might have a double initiator. Yeah, or no, double duelist. They made me a liar. Use it for speed. Swapping over to that jet, and I mean, interesting changes here, but so far, I mean, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I like not having the mirror comps. I like having a difference to analyze in terms of how these teams are going to play out. And I mean, starting on the attack with the double controller definitely means they're going to be off to a little bit slower of a start, especially against this double duelist and the aggression that Dancers can bring to their Lotus defense. And it'll just be kind of a question, more or less, of if they're ready for it and how they adjust around it. Either way, though, like I said, we've just gotten into the game, so we will be loading, getting ready to see where these teams are headed. We know they like to change things up last minute, so we'll wait to give a call. But regardless, it's interesting. They have 3 members towards A, kind of 1B, 1C on the side of the dancers here. And I'm wondering if we're going to go for like that seize nade trap play over A to try and take that control early, and what the response is going to be coming out from our secret champs. Here we go. Let's quickly find out. It does look instead it was a pivot really quickly from the Raise and Fade over to the B site, which is the correct read, because if they follow through on this, it would be a pinch out towards Mound. Rhea gonna get the original information that they need, not gonna follow through and make contact following it up though yet. On the con side, does look like Secret Champs are going for it full double satchel and all, and they will right-click Rhea out of existence. Here comes the trap though out of doors, and Renz and Dara are able to finish what Yidit for Speed had started and fallen short on. So we are back to even ground. 3-3 spike planted rotations starting to come through now, back through Waterfall and back hall. Mapizi more being the bait while they wait for their other teammates to get into position. Now what's interesting here is that on the side of Secret Champs, there's so many really deep in the mound. Nobody's really on site. They're conceding this space. So let's see if Renz can clear out first individual. The answer is no, but they do get 1 of 5, so damage done as the post-plant utility will come in. Mapizi's able to finish them off, but they still have 2 more to go, and they aren't giving them the solo fight. Doesn't even matter. Love Jix. Eagle Demon finishes out the round, gets the first point on the board in their favor. And just like that, you can see how a solid execution can start to turn into a solid post plant. And I love that Disordered, right? They were that KO. They've now flexed over to the Viper here on this map, and I love how they've been kind of that so far, at least in round 1. They were that lurk towards A, and they were able to get there late and play the post plant with the rest of their team, whoever had survived. And I think that's going to be really important in these late rounds. They're either going to be that establishment of a rotation point, or they're going to be like all that information of, hey, you know, here we have off the top of the screen 3 of those members potentially pushing up, kind of like what we're seeing. And so the response is to follow through on this C aggression. I mean, they've already found Mapizi. They have forced that raise. They've forced Renz back deeper into the site, and the Trailblazer as well is going to concuss them. So they are as good as dead. And Kiex is not done hunting. 3rd on the round with the Spectre, able to even get a gun upgrade fluidly. And they're looking now for their 4th. Oh, it will be robbed from them with a deagle shot that rang true. Walden does drop Achilles pretty low on HP, but it's that backstab from Disordered just to kind of end that potential. And very fluidly now, a 2-0 here. And I do think it'll be interesting, right? Habaxi and Dancers have fought before, and Dancers has beat them, and it was really, really close. So if this is a dominating victory, I would be shocked. But either way, not too early to call it domination. I mean, your theoretical or your expected is you win your pistol, you win your follow, because you have the better weapons. Now here is where things will get interesting, right? I mean, you have full rifles, full light shields on the side of the Dancers because they bought in a little bit last time with those deagles, but you also have some rifles and those bonus weapons that so far have awarded a 1-for-1 trade on the side of Secret Champs. For now, they've even left Madara now running, backing up, waiting for their team to come through for the retake. And the momentum from Kiex has just not stopped. Has taken tree control off the alarm button, now taking deeper site control, essentially off of the Trailblazer. And Rhea is pinned here in drop, able to survive the paint shell, but not Kiex's bullets. Will pull the numbers advantage back in their favor, bring things to a 4v3. And even the showstopper is online, but still a 3v2 favoring the attackers here. So they might not want to use it.
I'll find you.
They've also fallen. A great hump, but it won't catch the players in tree. And Rex, once again, being that safe player, being the one not to take fights unless they get the backstab, staying alive for their team, but they might not even need it. Madara now in a 1v3 situation. Might be granted the solo fight from Achilles. No, the double swing with Lovejix to get them the team ace. Everybody doing their part, gets the 3rd on the board, wins their anti-eco. And I mean, now this is where you start to get a little bit nervous if you're the Dancers, right? Now you're reset back to a pistol. I mean, you can see the Deagle squad rolling up Madara, trying to still figure out what they want, versus you have full rifles on the opposing side, and that could lead to a 4-over-5 up on the half. I mean, I mean, Habaxi came back from a 1-5, so it definitely shouldn't count them out, especially because it's defense and it's very attack-sided on Lotus. But you want to get a few rounds, which might be why we're about to see a paranoia aggression play or something along those lines off this mound. But the follow-up is an attempt to pinch on the Viper here, and so far neither has worked. Rhea left playing around this dark cover. They will run and got into one, but with the Deagle, not much you can ask for there. So C-site basically completely receded. But look, Digit for Speed has recognized the Viper's lurking, and they get the gun upgrade. So that's going to be a hero right before this retake attempt, as well as Madara through the smoke, able to punish his Lovejix tracers on that Vandal. Friends as well, starting to make this look like a potential Thrifty coming through. But they haven't pulled out their secret weapon. They haven't pulled out the Showstopper just yet. And now, Digit for Speed, a lot of weight on them here. They're the one with the upgraded weapon. They're the one that has to get this retake started, and they will deliver. Now putting Rex, the Killjoy, in this 1v2 situation. We've seen them do it before. They're trying to isolate while the Raze is trying to collect a weapon. They're trying to play around, trying to play the left and right game, and so far it is working, and it does follow through for the 2v1 clutch. Once again, like I said, they play their life, they play the late round, and they win their fights, and that is all you need here. And I mean, not a bad Thrifty attempt, right? I mean, you've now kind of kept their economy a tad bit in check while you're back to a bye, but it would have been better if maybe they got the Showstopper out, or maybe they were able to win that round to get their first on the board. So this is definitely where they need to start getting rounds, right? They did their job the last round on their Thrifty. Now they're back to rifles. So let's see how they address it when it's not just the Viper aiming, but it's more than one. And so far, it looks like their plan is going to be that C's nade play, but I mean, you see a Raze and you see a Fade, you're probably expecting it. The question would be if they expected Digit for Speed up on Rubble, but they have now conceded that ground gained and are waiting for this toxic screen to fall before re-peeking it. The other thing to point out is Lovejix here, on alert towards Pillar with an Odin of all things. We saw them love to abuse it in the late round of their defense over on Ascent, so them pulling it out here as well is zero surprise with those doors being so paper thin. But I do want to point out that that aggression from the dancers has finally kind of forced a rotation out from this team. Rotation's going to be into the B side where Renz is waiting, but the double ultimate's going to clear out all of these angles and ensure a plant comes through at least. But not without some contestation. Nightfall already in for the retake. KX though, spray through the dark cover too strong. And it even allows Disordered to slip into the corner where they are fighting for this top mid. It's a 1-for-1 trade. They don't take the corner though, allowing Disordered to get another. But that does put Renz now in a 1v2 situation. They know where one player is. I don't think they know that Rex is also wrapped up to top mid. They're trying to now bring it in. They're trying to fight it. They do have both a paint shell and a Showstopper online. So that might be exactly what they need. The nade's gonna just barely miss, not clearing out the corner, but they get the pick they need.
Like you could stop me.
And now, once again, not really too care in the world. Rex, do they have it? It's gonna be halved, but I don't even think there's enough time with the half. No, both will die to the spike, and that is a second clutch in 5 rounds for Rex coming out. And I mean, that's so sad that they got off the spike thinking the Nanoswarm was gonna hit them, versus if they stayed on it, they probably could have stuck it the entire way, or even pushing them with the Showstopper. But like I said, they didn't know that the Killjoy was also wrapped to drop, or to top mid with their Viper. I mean, beautiful play once again out of them, and that is what's gotten them so far to this 5-0. And I mean, I'm hoping we'll see, you know, some Blazestorm action this round, right? I mean, they have a little bit of force up Madara there, specifically with the Ares. So there it is. The Blazestorm might be the knife in the back that they need to get their run started, to get some rounds together. And look at the pressure here. Look where Raze and Jet have snuck into. They're already in spawn. They're about to destroy the turret, or even block it potentially with a Cloudburst. Yeah, they've made it past it with the Cloudburst. And look, they're suddenly pinched, but Rhea's not there to help. So both are now taken out, and they just re-divert their attention. The second question is, now that Renz is there undetected, what can they do? They're not even undetected. The Killjoy turret's still alive since they didn't destroy it. Now they know, you know, they can address it later in the round. While the rest of the team is just steamrolling into CT. And what was a beautiful play out the gate has been completely dismantled into a flawless. Whew. This is not at all the grand finals I was expecting when both of our semifinals matches went to OT, and Dancers and Habaxty are around the same level and usually also play such close games. So, I mean, that was, like I said, a partial buy round, so we're back to obviously full rifles here for the Dancers. They have some ultimates to work with, but so does the opposition having mirror ults. Now the question is, are they able to stall out this A pressure the same way they were for the previous rounds? So far, it does look like it sees that Nade might connect this time, but they don't expect Lovejix with the Odin. They were able to find one, though, if you're Renz, and a second as a follow-up. And the third off the toxic screen, literally dividing their team, not allowing them to play these fights together. Now 15 HP, they're just trying to play spoiler while the rest of their team follows up for more kills. So far, though, the only response has been to run for the hills here. Or maybe fake a run for the hills, as they're once again starting to reoccupy this space that the toxic screen has come up. It's so close as it falls. It basically awards Rhea the pick. Madara, the upgraded gun, will finish off the round, finally get them their first. And I mean, I want to point out that that's the first round that they've pushed A main through the toxic screen successfully. Or at least attempted, I should say, not successfully. I mean, the previous round where they went A, they saw the Reyes nade C's combo, and they heard the jet upcraft and rebel. They were like, okay, we're not walking past this toxic screen, we are leaving. And they dipped towards the B site and then won that round. On this side, though, they finally were like, okay, let's push through the toxic screen, which is their own toxic screen, mind you, and contest these players. And I think that's ultimately what cost them their first round. And I'm wondering if that's what this timeout is for, right? This is a timeout from the attackers. It's coming out from the Secret Champs. And I mean, they're up 6-1. So I'm guessing they just don't want to have that same collapse that they had back on Ascent against obviously the opposing team, against Habaxty. And I feel like they're probably talking about, okay, how can we crack open this A site specifically? Our C takes are clean. Our B was okay. It was a little rough, but we won the round. But if we need A as a potential outlet, how can we make sure that they don't get that initial aggression out of the gate? Either way, though, finally an early disciplined timeout that we normally don't see, so it's fun for that as it comes to an end. The other thing is, I mean, they have a lot they can cook with, right? If they're trying to find a recipe, they got the ingredients. The Killjoy Lockdown, Seekers from the Shadows, Viper's Pit. Like, that's a recipe for success if I've ever seen one. So let's see how they can use it, especially considering they still have a buy, they still have economy. Like, they really don't have much stakes in this round other than trying to establish a lead going into the next half. Either way, as we jump into things, the answer to that question is to challenge this B site where it's a 1-for-1 trade, but that might be a cover. All a ruse for this jet, and it in fact is. They even destroy their own Seeker as they jet across. They won't be slowed down on the tailwind to escape. As well, now pressure from the door. They don't know if anybody has slipped in yet. That's complete denial, finally coming out from a play on the side of the Dancers here. So now their question becomes, what is the adjustment? What is the reactionary mid-round play coming out from the Super Champs? The answer looks like to go to what they are comfortable with, to head towards the C site, where they had to check every corner because they know Rhea had pushed up at least to the button to open it. They don't know if they're still there. They don't know what they're peeking. And they are given the answer. They are given that information. And now the rotations start to come through for the Dancers. Where there's actually a tactical. I was gonna say there's a gap in your smoke area, but it was tactical, awarding them a 2K. Now that they'll lose their life from the flash out, the quick trade coming through from Renz, attempting. It's not quite done though, 50 HP. Satchel plays left and right, raised kit diff, and Renz will walk away, getting their team the second round on the board. And User for Speed is able to collect that operator as well. So, or sorry, that Odin as well. I mean, I'm just foretelling though, because look at Rhea picking up the operator instead. So that'll be an interesting play wherever they decide to position it. You never expect an Omen with an op, we'll put it that way. Either way, knowing that they've now lost, you know, these 2 rounds in a row, you can see them trying to go back to initially what was working out of the gate for those first 6. They're gonna go to the C site right at the gate. They're gonna have this Viper lurking. The question is, do they expect the operator? Do they expect the player mound? Let's see. So far, no. It's going to be a dry peek, but it's a clean dry peek, pushing Rhea to 6 HP. Now putting Mephizi on the island, but that's exactly where they want to do. They will swim, not sink here. Getting a third, not done searching for more. Confident in their push out, but will be finally shut down by Lovejix, who now has to re-pivot. The thing is, though, they're re-pivoting right into the jet, and they don't even have the spike, which is still down mound. I think they were going for a save, but no, that won't even happen. 3-6, right positioning, right time, finally out of the Dancers.
from the
And it
front.
looks like they might be staging a comeback. 3-6 has weapons, has now bolstered wallets. And I mean, I don't think it's this round, but I think it's next round is when the economy will start to see some suffering on the side of Super Champs. So this is the time where they have to use these ultimates. They have to use the lockdown to get onto the site. They have to use the Viper's Pit to lock down a post plant. But let's see what the reactionary is once again out of the dancers. They've finally been learning. They've been finally pivoting, putting themselves in optimal positions. And this time, once again, does look like they're just going for that C again. The question is, what will they have changed in this attempt? So far, it's nothing. And because of that, Renz is just going to punish with the rest of their team as well. Yet for speed also robs them of another. So they will sneak away with the numbers advantage, sneak away with taking that Viper's Pit as an option away. In the meantime, though, look who's teleported over with a shorty. It's ready to take the fight, but it doesn't quite work out. So the 3v3 rotations quickly coming through. Toxic Screen out of play, though, so a lot is on Lovejix to ensure the team's rotations can come through in time. Amazing paint shot as well, but more catches out. Lovejix on the reload, which suddenly puts things into a 3v1. They know where this lockdown is, paint shell and all. Suddenly, though, it hasn't been destroyed, and they might even all get detained. No way, the lockdown does get destroyed last second because of the Odin spray. And they're just sticking it through this cloudburst. Nobody lines up, and suddenly 4-6. I think I've casted a curse and saying, you know, that this might not be a close game because they are right back into it. 4-6, collecting their weapons, and like I said here, looking at this, trying to figure out what your buy is going to be if you are Secret Champs. So they are still going for their 3 Vandals. They're going for the full buy in this round, and they'll be broke next round, which would be their last, so it makes sense here. So this is probably their last chance to secure that 7-5 potential lead, maybe even 8-4, and it looks like they are taking it towards an A main initial aggression, which for once, they're not going to be a 3-stack to try and contest Rubble, because they relied on Rhea with the operator stairs that has found one, is still searching for more. Use it for speed, though. I love this kind of, I don't want to say this patience, this discipline. They don't follow through on the door fight. They instead just dash out after getting the information. Now that awards them 1, it now has opened the door for Disorder to push up, get the pick, get the pit online. They are not done searching. In fact, they pushed out, but that'll just take the Viper's Pit right offline. And now the backstab from Madara closes things out, and just like that, such a great plan crumbles under their feet. And going into this last half, not only are they broken, forcing up, but they have to deal with the 4 ultimates that are likely going to get dumped into this round on the side of the dancers. Either way, though, we'll see if the force weapons are enough on the side of Secret Champs. For now, though, they are going to bring probably that Raze ultimate pretty aggressively into the B site, which it could catch them off guard. I mean, there's 3 players here ready to take the space, ready to aggress, but KX is going to peek the corner first, which might cost him their life. It costs him the ultimate as well. Might even cost him the round as Spike is now down. Quickly recovered, but they're starting now from square one. 3 players in spawn, nowhere to go, and Mapeasy now has the operator, a double operator instead of Rhea. So you think you're safe, C? No, there it is, another op, but Rex able to hit the shot nonetheless. Is only now 2 off from their ultimate. If they were able to get that orb and get the plant, they might have been able to use it as a post-plant tool, but they'd rather get into an advantageous position here to try and cut off the rotates, knowing that they're down a player. The only nerve-wracking thing is this might put Lovejix in an awkward situation, like the only player in a Nightfall, like the only player getting wallbanged by an Odin. And like I said, I mean, Lovejix started it with the Odin buy, and Madara certainly finished it, taking it in stride and carrying it to this 6-6 half. And I mean, are you not entertained? What more could you have asked for out of the Week 3 Grand Finals? A new team, Secret Champs, and a returning from Week 1 team out of the Dancers, and it's 6-6 here. They are definitely, if they upset both of the first and second place teams from Week 2, that would be insane. But for now, 6-6, like I said, they have their work cut out for them, since this is more of my eyes an attack-sided map. And the attackers have double duelists. They theoretically are more equipped for this attack half. The early answer, or the early solution to them, is going to be more of a paranoia trap play here out towards Rubble to try and do the same thing that the C's nade accomplishes. The question is, are they ready? The answer is no. They still are going to be into safety. Now, how do they dismantle this hold on the same area? It looks like they're just gonna potentially, I'm gonna say they don't have any flashes really. Paranoia not used yet either, so they're gonna dry swing together out, and it's not gonna quite work until User for Speed goes nuclear. Getting one and looking for a second, but the flick right click will at least award them one more before they fall to Mapeasy.
Bring them down.
Rotation's now coming through for the A site, but it looks like it's a quick pivot to the B off of that dark cover on tower. And although Rex has already made it there, they might not expect Mapeasy occupying that space. The answer is no. Disordered will fall as a result.
Spike planted.
But then again, that might be a worthy sacrifice. They don't know yet that Rex is there. They didn't. They do now. All the util now starting to go in, starting to deny. They're not giving them any fights, any chances. They know that Rex is a clutch demon. Trying to isolate, trying to find a 1v1. Has cleared out most of the corners, but once again, no solo fights given. Madara gets them with their back turned, and they have reclaimed their lead. I mean, okay. Chat, let's pause. Let's talk, okay? If we take this back to the last game, okay? We had, obviously, the same exact thing happen, where on their defensive side, or sorry, on their attack side, they took the lead early on, they let it drop to either a 7-5 or a 6-6 half, and the opposing team took over the lead, and even went on a run for rounds. But then, it was the opposite. Secret Champs reclaimed and went back to OT and then took things. So we know both of these teams are slow burn teams, but what is gonna slow burn is Madara with this Ares as well as the aggression from the Econ. So we'll be a 3v2. Damage done, I would say, on your save round, but they are not done. They are going for more. They've evened things out to a 2v2. They're fighting together, but that Odin Force, I didn't even see that from Mapeasy. Is trying to say otherwise. They've been able to recover the spike. But this rotation to C is going to allow Disordered to pick up some sort of weapon. And Madara is receptive of that. They got the Bulldog. Now going to wait to see if they can get the plant down without being contested. And this thing, all they know is that this Viper's top of the screen is on B and A. They don't know where, you know, Disordered plays. Because of that, they snuck their way onto the side and even caught Madara. Unbeknownst. Trapped in a corner though for now. You can see here, very similar to the Rex style. You can see obviously other Killjoy playing so far away, trying to be that insurance policy. Mapeasy here, trying, knowing that they're both low HP as well. Only a single bullet can kill either of them here. It's all a bait, just trying to make sure that they don't jump on. But it's the spray transfer, like I said, reminiscent of their own plays on Ascent, and that is insane clutch. Definitely a thrifty clutch too that we've seen them pull off before. But I mean, they even get the Odin online. Look who's asking for it. They know. Lovejick says, give it to me, I know. And getting that on your third round too, literally handed over to you by the opposition, is exactly what they needed to quickly turn the momentum back in their favor. Not only do they have guns now, but forced into a deagle squad is the Dancers. Because of that, it looks like they're gonna have to take it to the A site, where once again, in very similar fashion, there's gonna be a full denial with this Paranoia Molly combination. Let's see if they've learned though, if they're gonna push past it off Tailwind. Yes, it's an updraft, but it's gonna be face for face, duelist for duelist, having a confrontation there. And they don't even know that they're still there. The flash is beautiful from Achilles. Ren's trying to catch Lovejick's off on the reload, but they'll escape with the knife out. And even the door open from their teammates' support. And although it's a 3v2, look how low both of the players on the Dancers are. Able to collect weapons off the fallen teammates for Secret Champs. Look how reserved, once again, we're seeing Secret Champs play. Not giving any fights over, but then again, it's giving so much space over. They don't know where these players are headed. For example, look how deep Ren's has gotten, but like I said, that HP versus reaction time, not going to warn them their hopes. And now Rhea, last one standing, waltzing their way onto the A side, might be able to get plant money for their team. But all that's going to be heard. Lovejick's going to be the first one likely to make contact here with the Odin. Yeah. has made its way back site, so might be granted a 1v1 against Rex or the Viper.
Shadows traveling.
Especially with the smokes back online. Yeah, they do, but the shot's just giving the Viper a haircut, and the flick is too strong yet again. And that is an 8th. The lead reclaimed by Secret Champs here on Lotus.
Who to smother first?
Oh, either way though. It's so far that will mean that our cycle of econ saves and buys might be getting started here just a little bit. I mean, those 2 rounds will give some wiggle room over to Secret Champs, but I mean, if you are dancers and you lose this round, you're back to a lighter buy. You're back to these pistols, back to these deagles, maybe a stinger or an Ares. But that's not what they want. They want to tie things back up. They want to force out another kind of buy round before a save on the side of Secret Champs.
Shadows traveling.
That does mean more reservation now. Knowing that their econ is on the line, knowing that if they want to take things back up, they have to win this round. You can see, this time they're not going to dry peek potentially out of this dark cover. You saw Madara ready with the Prowler. That, or they're waiting for this dark cover to fall. Even if they wait for the dark cover to fall, though, I don't think they expect this high-low setup from Kiox and Achilles. And that's what scares me here, is Yijin for Speed is really the first one to peek and the first one to die. And now the showstopper notices that there's 2 here, will be awarded another, and they are not done. All this util being dumped to try and isolate, to try and take Renz out. But instead it's face to face. They're good for 1, looking for the second. 56 HP, they might even get it, you know. Finally, Achilles shuts them down. Will hold on to their life, hold on to the spike for now. With 16 HP, they know they have to relinquish that control. Ooh, and I was about to say, their only get out of jail free card would have been Rhea with that from the shadows, only being 1 away. Now that they're gone, it's all peasy. Try and take the one-on-one with Rex, and they won't even be granted that kill. 9-7. They pull ahead by 2. Ooh, I mean, what can we make of that round? I mean, they finally, it did look like they learned. They did have some attempt at an adaptation there coming out of the A main hold, A main aggression, but ultimately just the fact that there was an angle there in favor of Secret Champs. Yijin for Speed following untraded, and the follow-up from Kiox was just flawless. I mean, what do you do when there's a showstopper staring you down in the face? Either way, though, jumping into this round once again, like I said, they're forced on to a more fragmented buy. Yijin for Speed asked to be the hero again off his Blade Storm, but now something else stands in their way. It's the Viper's Pit. And although they are just running through it with the Judge, they haven't addressed it itself yet. And Renz is so low and essentially murdered. Looking for the second, but everyone's vulnerable. You challenge a Viper's Pit head on, you're gonna lose. And now the only other rifle or even remotely weapon bought up is Madara with that Ares. Good for 1. Got the second. Only 2 bullets is still gonna challenge the Odin there.
Catch them.
Quickly getting flanked though, they're receptive of it to reposition so they're not visible from mound. Avoids the fake flash. Would have been so funny if the Boombot was the one to finish it, but it was ultimately that Odin with Lovejix to secure double digits here on the grand finals for Super Champs of Blue Skirmish Week 3. Either way, beautifully done. Beautiful follow-up so far, as they want to now secure an 11th. But I do want to reiterate that it's been this cycle of buy and eco for the dancers right now. So they're back onto a buy. They're back onto 4 ultimates. So if there's a round they should win, it would be this one. And even then, if they use only 1 or 2 ultimates, and they have 1 or 2 more to bring into the next round, to hopefully start closing this gap. Especially, I don't want to say this was a mistake. For the first time, Secret Champs is not fighting for this A main aggression or pressure right out of the gate. And that might be within reason here. As yes, Lovejix finds Rhea, but it's a 2-person trade, 2-for-1 deal. And they've taken the site control, they've taken the numbers advantage. They've taken the plant. If, as I say, Sorta doesn't have anything to say about it.
Toxin screen down.
Regardless of the damage done, back to a 3v3. They have this lockdown as an insurance policy if they need it. But for now, both duelists are holding such close fights. It's definitely going to be interesting to see. The crouch spray just doesn't trick kick.
You should run.
And there it is, like I said, the insurance getting cashed in. It does look like they might be sticking outside the barrier, though. And that's what's interesting to me here. I mean, it won't matter if they can get the lockdown destroyed with the paint shell, and that's exactly what they do. Also find the kill on to use it for speed. So just like that, 11-7. I believe it was 2 ultimates used as well. Showstopper and that lockdown on the side of the dancers. So their options and their money dwindling yet again. And you can see it here. They know that this is their last chance. They're buying up. They'll have 0-0, $400 if they lose this round. It'll be so bad, and it'll be match point as well for the opposition, for Secret Champs. And so they also have 3 ultimates, so this is going to be the true test of a round. And I mean, they were given an opportunity last round with them relinquishing aiming pressure. This time though, once again, going to be this challenge on top of Rubble. And it's a 1-for-1 trade this time at least. With Reds now going nuclear, good for another. Ultimately though, they're trading Madara, trying to be that follow-up, and they will be. However now though, it's a scramble for guns. It's a scramble for these upgrades. And they also don't want to push through this toxic screen just yet. But Rhea, from the shadows, has enforced a hold on drop here, has enforced a rotation point quite nicely. Question is, will they even need it? No, not yet. Mapeezy's there with Theoden to hold down this stair position. They are also going to challenge and win the fight against Rex. And I feel like both last map, like on the semifinals and like the grand finals, I feel like these Odins have been kind of the turning point in this game. Not gonna lie. So it's interesting to see them get handed back and forth. But either way, they stay alive. They keep their guns. The gamble pays off. Unlike what we saw from a backseat where they gambled and lost, then it was match point and over. So now 11-8. They have another opportunity. They still have a Nightfall for a retake or for a site take option. But then again, you look at the ultimates still on the side of Secret Champs that hasn't been tapped into. And you've got to wonder if they can do anything with that, or if they can even play a retake play. We saw them play retake so often on that B site on a site. This time though, they haven't really been playing retake at all. They've been the forward aggressors. They've been those key players. And this time the over-aggression is going to cost them not 1, but 2 players. I mean, look at how far User for Speed is up on the C site all alone. No spike in sight, no teammates in sight, and they're not done hunting. They're waiting for this dark cover to fade. They're waiting to get this opportunity against Rex, and Rex is not gonna bite. They're gonna instead possibly be set up for a backstab here. They made their way on the A site, they've gotten the plant, and now my eyes are gonna be on the timing that User for Speed is able to establish, and if it will be fast enough. Like I said, Rex has the lockdown online if they want to use it here, but no, here it is. Like I said, the backstab from Yidget, good for not 1 but 2 players, and now Rex is literally pinned from 3 angles, and that is exactly the kind of plays we need. 9-11. You got to throw that chaos, and you've got to distract this team from their set plays, from their ideas, and that's exactly what they've done, enough so to pull out the timeout from Lovejix. Again, I do think that the first time they took this timeout, they did win the round off their ultimates. But ultimately, this round, I mean, 9-11, I believe their money has essentially dwindled. This might be their last buy round if they lose another. So then it would be probably an 11-11 tied game. So what they're probably doing is trying to figure out, okay, if what we're doing isn't working, do we need to collectively have a retake with these ultimates? Do we need to be more willing to use the ultimates in the early round to have a gamble play? It's hard to predict what they want to do here. I mean, I would love to see it from the shadows aggressively out of Lovejix into like, kind of a gamble spot. So I think it would catch off guard the opposing team, but it's also, like I said, dangerous. And then you'll have to rely on those Viper smokes for the retake. On the other side, though, they have the lockdown. They have the Seekers. Seekers are great for information right at the gate. Versus the lockdown paired with the Seekers is great to figure out what corner the lockdown has forced these players to play into. Then again, though, you can't really play post-play if your teammates are dying before they even make their way onto a site, like what happened last round. So they might be talking about, okay, hey, don't put yourself in dangerous positions. Keep an eye out for these lurks. Keep an eye out for Yidget. Keep an eye out for Mapeezy. And, I mean, let's see if that's exactly what happens. For now, though, no. Looks like it's going to be an even bigger double down on this A site. The trap play of the Sentry. 4 players pushing out here, trying to take that space. My question is, will they stop at the spawn door entrance, Will they stop at root or will they follow through this time? For now, though, it does look like the pivot is beautiful here. Lovejix alone in Link here. Forced to fall back to the comfort of their team here, A. And there'll be a pre-open plant on the B site. I like to retake 4. And like I said, Yijit for speed, just the aggression, just the ability to take space and control rotation points on this map. And that might just be exactly what they need. They know where the last player is, and it's Ren's there for the flawless. Insane from Yijit for speed, and their bounce back in this map from the first half. I mean, they were consistently shut down a little bit, and now, I mean, that's the second time they've had quite literally a catastrophic lurk or flank, I should say. And, I mean, that's ultimately what brought them here to 10-11. And they've had that Blade Storm online time and time again, doing damage on these econ rounds. So I would not be surprised if here, now that it is a sheriff squad, Disorder being the only one with an actual gun on the Bulldog, if they easily are able to tie things up here. Looks like knowing they had the better weapons, they are going to take this to A. Where it is only this Viper here, like I said, that better weapon waiting. That's likely why they are the only one. Prowler as well is going to spot them out. And it's the updraft as well, paired with that Molly that'll secure them the site. And it's going to be a 4-person flank. The only thing here is, look how far away Killjoy is from that turret. And the dark cover as well is going to allow them to walk right by it. Yijit for speed, though, receptive of this. Knows it's offline. Knows there might be a flank coming through. Force off the angle and now taken out of the picture. Their teammates are holding the same follow-up angles that they're all going to have to clear methodically. And time is not on their side. Odin Spray is not on their side. Satchels across to get the weapon upgrade. But they're about to get swarmed by their teammates now. And let's see. So far, 5 HP. Has Showstopper on the line, but only, like I said, a whisper away from death. Can't swing into the Odin Spray, and they are forced to with time ticking. And just like that, like I said, both teams have staged comebacks before. It's exactly what has happened. 11-11 here. And it is chaos. I mean, you're finally back to weapons by at least from that save last round. You have 4 ultimates, so this is the round you would pull on to match point 4. But you've wasted your time out, so now you don't know how to layer these ultimates with the tools that you now have with this Odin, with this operator actually being left to watch the A site. And I'm wondering if this raise here on the side of Dancers is going to be used, Ren's, as more of this bait play to make them think that they're headed towards the A site, when in reality you can see Spike's headed towards C while the default pressure is applied to B. And they're wasting, I don't want to say wasting, but it's forcing out so much utility on the side of Secret Champs. And that's exactly what Dancers want. Now here comes the execution into the C site, and that Molly lineup is doing its work. It's shredding. It's allowing Disorder to find picks and play hopscotch. They jumped over the ledge. Found finally another shutdown. And even forces out the lockdown from the Pisa here just to get the plant down. They aren't done hunting though, which is interesting here. Going for the wallbangs on CT, waiting for these teammates to peek up. And here comes the counter lockdown. Caught with the Odin out though, or sorry, the op out. And it's quickly traded as the Seekers now paired, like I said, with that lockdown for a retake tool. Will allow all this space to be conceded and taken. Vidara now left to the impossible, a 1v3. When you have 2+ players swinging at you, Rex will win those 9 times 10. And match point is finally secured here on the side of Secret Champs.
Match point.
Great effort from both sides so far.
Help a girl out, would ya?
And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this does go to OT. The only thing that's kind of standing in their way, I would say, is number 1, just the sheer number of ultimates. Like, they have a showstopper to get them into a site. They have, I mean, and do a retake. They have the Viper's Pit to further strengthen a defensive hold so they can stack players elsewhere. I think the only interesting thing here is that Dancers are now opting to go towards C on the outright. They usually have one person lurking A, they usually have one person lurking in B, and then they repivot through door in to C. This time though, it does look like Yijit for speed wants to close things out in aggressive fashion. Updraft to waste all the Killjoy utility for now. Satchel and Raise from Ren's is going to join them and further solidifying this deeper space control. And just like I said back on Ascent, it looks like it's going to be a retake attempt finally coming out once again from Secret Champs. An over-aggression though from Music for Speed is going to punish them, finally giving advantage back over to the opposition.
Bring them down.
And here's these ultimates that I talked about that could close things out. Showstopper won't fight anything. They know where Spike is planted, so the Viper Pit won't do much in terms of visibility. They're sticking it though. Disordered has it almost to half. The regrowth is making sure that they don't get tapped away. But suddenly, from the back end, and just like that,
Defenders win.
13-11. Both Rays having 24 and 25 kills, but Kiux and just the rest of their team so dynamic in some of those like repositions and some of those, I guess, developments they were able to get to counter the plays that were coming through. And I mean, I think we've seen, obviously this was the first week we've seen Secret Champs come in, but I think they would be a real contender if they play in week 4. I don't know if it's possible for them to win, but we can find out. And I mean, the Dancers, obviously, they will probably hold on to their first place spot for now, just because of how far Baxter has fallen. But I feel like they've gotten even stronger as a team as well. I think specifically their ability there to come back from such a low score on their defensive half shows how they finally are starting to learn. They're finally like developing as a team in terms of, especially their IGL, whoever it is, having these calls, having these like mid-round plays to ensure like, hey, this isn't working. Let's call an audible and change. And those changes did actually work, versus I want to say one of the previous times we've seen them, they didn't really work as well. And so finally being able to see those come to fruition, see those changes, bring things as close as we did here, means I'm hopeful for them to hold on to that leadership or that leaderboard spot going into week 4. Until then, like I said, that was our grand finals map coverage, which means that the Secret Champs are our winners for week 3 of the Blue Skirmish August series. I did want to go check in with you guys, and it looks like Habaxty was able to take the 3rd place matchup. I want to say that it was a forfeit, but I could be wrong, which would be kind of sad. But either way, that does mean they will get those points to keep them in this opportunity, or this vying, I should say, for the 1st place match on the leaderboard next week. So until then, though, you will have to stick around, and that's all for the show today. So have a great day.